Thank you, my friend. Tim Kirkshin, Hall of Famer. Here we are. Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets. Backpack, short sleeve, short pants, 71 degrees on a gorgeous Sunday night on this Memorial Day weekend for our National League East showdown. Nick Castellanos and company got to get more consistent offense out of that guy and Kyle Schwarber, the two big free agent signings. The Mets 8 clear of the Atlanta Braves. Francisco Lindor, he's just one of the Mets who was sizzling hot. Pete Alonso, another guy. But tonight, a little different look for the New York Mets. Yes, Lindor will be where he usually is in the lineup and playing short, but a couple of other changes we will tell you about as we welcome you to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Our telecast is presented by Taco Bell. Welcome inside our booth here. Just a gorgeous night, and happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. That's Eduardo Perez, David Cohn. I'm Carl Ravitch. Pete Alonso's not going to be in the field. He is going to DH tonight, and he is, like Harper, Machado, Arenado, Goldsmith, he's an MVP type candidate right now, isn't he?
Absolutely he is. Look, if you want consistency in a lineup, Pete Alonso provides that. Everyone else around the lineup moves around. But Pete Alonso's been that cleanup hitter. He's been in the lineup every day so far this season. He has been consistent. He's hit the ball for power, but most importantly, he's been driving in runs. You see those 46 RBIs there? 18 of those have been with 2 outs. So he understands how to just slow down the moment and drive in that big run.
Pete Alonso's going to be wearing that earpiece and a microphone tonight. And to your point, they are great with 2 outs. They're just great offensively. But tonight they're going to run into a guy that can shut down any great offense. And the best pitcher on a Phillies rotation that has been really good is Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, and he's trending up too. His velocity's starting to come back. A little bit of a slow start in the lockout. Pitched in spring training games against the minor league side. Right. But yes, the weather's heating up. He's heating up. And he's really been a good bet for the Phillies when you think about it since 2020. 2.89 ERA, 5th best in the major leagues. He's kind of revamped his style. He's walking less, striking out more. One of the premier power pitchers in the game today.
This month, 4 starts, a 1.69 ERA. And on top of that, his last 4 starts against the Mets, an 0.70 ERA with a 1.36 batting average against. Chris Bassett on the bump for the New York Mets. Got a high butt, Buck Showalter says, and that's an important characteristic. That's an important trait for a pitcher. We'll explain why. 4-2, 391. Bassett on the bump tonight. Mets, Phillies coming up on our ESPN telecast of Sunday Night Baseball. It is presented by Taco Bell. And you get to Memorial Day and you start to see those carnivals pop up. So let's see who's the strongest tonight. Test your strength. Who hits that bell? Who goes deep? Does the apple rise? Harper, Alonso, Mets, Phillies after this. Well, the Mets and Phillies have been living in no man's land for years. I mean, these droughts are real. The dry spells have sent the Fanatic and Mr. Met over the edge. The thirst for the Mets hasn't been quenched since 1986. We are talking desert dry, but it has been raining dollars in Queens since Steve Cohen took over, and the Phillies have been absent from the postseason for the last decade. But look up ahead. Is that hope a legitimate shot at the World Series, or is it just a mirage? For the Phillies, man, they were in first place for a while last year. The Mets were in first place for a long time and just collapsed down the stretch, trying to avoid that this season. Mr. Met has been happy. Mrs. Met has been happy. Buck Showalter's in charge, and he and Joe Girardi go face-to-face tonight for what will be the 154th time as the New York Mets get set to take the field at 31-17. They led the NL East by 8.5 this morning, down to 8. And the odds to win the World Series, guys, currently it's the Dodgers, who Buck Showalter rhetorically kind of asked, how do they ever lose? Then the Yankees, and there are the Mets. Very rare that the Yankees and Mets on Memorial Day are both in first place. Astros, Blue Jays, and Brewers. And the Phillies are way down the list as far as odds to win the World Series. We talked about it on Baseball Tonight before they take the field. You make the case, what do the Mets have to do to win the World Series and end that drought?
Well, the first thing they have to do is hold the fort down until their 2 big stud starters get back into play. And obviously DeGrom and Scherzer are like Koufax and Drysdale, if you think about it. When they're healthy and going, that's not a team you want to face in a short series or really any time in the postseason.
And DeGrom is going to come back. They are incredibly confident that both DeGrom and Scherzer will be back. On the other side, is there legitimate hope for the Phillies?
There is hope. Hope to get in. And if you can get into the dance, they have the pitching. They just need to play better defense. And the big boys need to hit. Schwarber, who's leading off, needs to hit. Castellanos, who also was acquired in the offseason with Schwarber, both of them need to hit. And that's one of the things that Dave Dombrowski had told me yesterday about how important it is that these two guys have to take the pressure off Bryce Harper.
So it's Schwarber, Bohm, Harper, and then the middle of the order, Nick Castellanos. It's been a while since he's last hit a home run. He has not hit one in his last 73 at-bats. Herrera's in center field, collided with Schwarber last night, led to a Lindor triple. And you see the 4.5 runs a game. That's 10th in baseball. All right, so Chris Bassett is on the mound. He agreed to an $8.8 million deal this year to avoid arbitration. They got a mutual option for 19. He's unlikely to exercise that, so we'll see what Chris Bassett does down the road, but he has been a very legitimate arm for the Mets.
He really is. The thing about Bassett is the mix of pitches. He'll throw 6 or 7 different kinds of pitches, but there's subtle nuances to each of those pitches. A little cut on the fastball, a little sink on it as well. He'll throw a big slow curveball at times, but this guy knows what he's doing, changes arm angles a little bit here and there, and almost is different against righties and lefties, but gives a lot of different looks.
He'll be throwing to Patrick Mazeka, who is going to be behind the plate tonight. Take a look at the defense behind Bassett. Eduardo Escobar at third base. Lindor is at short. Luis Guillorme is at second base. Jeff McNeil's been hitting the cover off the ball. Gets the night off, maybe a little banged up. Dominic Smith will be at first base. Alonso the DH. Nick Plummer is now going to be in left field. Mark Canha is in center field. Starling Marte is in right. Plummer just called up to basically take the place of Travis Jankowski, who's out for a little while. And Jankowski is a loss for them. He was a terrific late inning speedster, good defensive player. As Buck Showalter said, when you lose him, you lose a valuable piece. So we'll see the Mets' depth tonight. It'll be Schwarber to lead things off. Sub 200 batting average, 22 RBIs, 10 homers, and a lot of success against the New York Mets when it comes to hitting the ball over the wall. Ryan Wills will call balls and strikes. He was the umpire in the combined Mets no-hitter earlier this year. First pitch high, ball 1. Fouled straight back. How much of a Met killer has Schwarber been? Well, the numbers say really good, especially when you're on the board with 2 Willies, Mays and McCovey, man. 16 homers, first 40 career games against the Mets.
We only had exit velocity for Willie McCovey, right? He hit as hard as anybody.
I'm wondering if Kyle's middle name is Willie.
I bet we could find that out. They do have the shift on against Schwarber. The next one, breaking pitch. That's pulled foul into the seats.
For a lot of you that do not watch a lot of Mets games, Chris Bassett is just a little bit different than a lot of pitchers. And the first thing that stands out to me as a hitter is that left arm, the glove coming at you. He stretches it out, completely different than what they teach a lot of the pitchers and what hitters see from pitchers.
He gets really low. He kind of just lets it go.
As Buck Showalter said, he's got about 7 or 8 pitches. He throws 2-seamer, cutter, 4-seamer, and slider between 17, 18, and like 25%.
And he clearly drives the bus out there. He's not afraid to shake his head. Will not throw the pitch he doesn't want to throw.
Ahead 1-2, and this one is also towards the foul line, the third base side. They'll get a souvenir. Take a look at Bassett's delivery.
Well, here's what you're talking about, Eduardo, and the unique part is the glove side. Watch how low he almost hits the ground with his glove. It's kind of a new school theory. Just get it out of the way, let it flow freely.
And it's not Kyle William, it's Kyle Joseph Schwarber.
Yeah, there we go.
The former Indiana Hoosier swings and misses a rising fastball 95 for Bassett's first punch-out.
Well, he elevated. That's the one pitch where you see it come up right there. He had taken some off earlier, had pitched at that level. This one just seems like it rises. It's exactly what happened to Kyle Schwarber right there. And you see Bassett bracing for any impact whatsoever, especially after the experience he had passed through last season. You know, right at him.
Go back straight up. Alec Boehm, the third baseman, bats from the right side, hitting .281, 3 homers, 17 runs batted in. First pitch, breaking ball in there, a slider at 84 for strike one. Plummer in left field for the first time tonight, and he is playing very shallow. He plays all outfield positions, just called up from AAA. Canna in center and Marte fairly shallow in right. Next one to Boehm. That also breaks in for a strike. Back-to-back sliders. Took about 10 miles off that one.
Yeah, we've seen everything from 75 miles an hour to almost 95 miles an hour.
.33-year-old Chris Bassett already struck out Schwarber. And the 0-2. He bounces one in the dirt. So that an effort ahead 0-2. Let's see what the curveball's doing early in the game.
Yeah, he's very much an old school mentality guy. Pitches on field, doesn't pay a lot of attention to the analytics. He's aware of the numbers, but he trusts his own instincts more than anything.
Sinker. So here is the repertoire. I mentioned 27, 28%, and down to about 10% with a curveball, but it's the cutter, the four-seamer. But he will, I guess, depending on his feel, throw any one of them.
Yeah, there's only a handful of pitchers that throw that many pitches over 5% of the time.
Jam Boehm on the ground. Smith will flip.
Take that yourself, Dom. You're that close. He knows better too. Little smile from Dom. You don't want any mistakes whatsoever, especially with Alec Boehm coming from home plate. Well executed pitch right here. Can't get out of the box in a hurry. He's seasoned. Just take it.
I looked at it as a reward. Bassett's hustling over there. Here, you want to do it?
Yeah, the problem is
you do
a little
invite
bobble
some
here
problems.
and there. We've seen it so many times.
You do invite that. All right, here's Harper. He's the DH, and boy, has he figured out how to DH when he's not playing right field with that bad elbow, and it's still likely a month plus until we see him try to get back in the field. Oof, Bassett fooled him badly there, way out in front of that slider. We'll take a look at what he's done in May. And as many will tell you, it's not easy to be a full-time DH when you're used to being in the field every day. This one to center. Canna going back, still going back, right at the track. He's there to make the play. Came off the bat at 105, traveled 396 feet, but it ended up in the glove of Mark Canna. 1-2-3 inning for Bassett. The Mets for the first time coming to the plate. Doc Showalter back at Citi Field now, and the lineup he puts out there tonight. Little different look. Lee's Gourmet, who's really earned it. I mean, he's been unbelievable his last 13 games, batting .447. Buck loves his defense. Marte and Lindor, and then Alonso. Dom Smith at first base. Pete's the DH tonight. And again, you look at Nick Plummer and Mazeka, a little different lineup. All right, so Zach Wheeler's going to try to navigate this lineup. Coney, how? What's he going to do to get guys out?
Well, his velocity's ticking back up recently. We talked about a little bit of a slow start. His velocity was down a couple of ticks, but over the last couple, he's starting to get back up. He will run that two-seamer inside to right. He's hard. That sets up everything else, and he's throwing more sliders than ever before, and it's a good one.
This is a legitimate ace, and behind him, Boehm, Camargo, Segura, Hoskins on the infield, Schwarber, Herrera, Castellanos in the outfield, and JT Realmuto behind the plate. Luis Gourmet, first pitch, runs high, 97 miles an hour. Got off to a real slow start, didn't really pitch in spring training, so Wheeler took the first few starts to kind of get his legs underneath him, and as Coney just pointed out, that velocity is back. He's been terrific in his last 4 starts against the Mets, and another fastball coming in at around 97 miles an hour.
It's the difference between velocity and perceived velocity, and Wheeler has excellent extension, among the top 5 in the game. Almost 7 feet 2 inches of extension, closer to home plate when he releases.
Makes it harder for the hitter. The next one, Gourmet way inside. He goes with a slider, and that registers 94 on the gun. Gourmet's got a homer. He's hitting .352. Didn't miss by much. Home plate umpire again, Ryan Wills. That was just down.
Outfield playing shallow, especially Schwarber in left. Yorman, not a lot of pop. They're going to try to pound it hard in on him.
Plenty of room down that right field line with Castellanos shaded towards left. This one deep sends Schwarber back. He stops looking at it. Off the base of the wall, Guillorme into second, stand-up double. And he continues to hit the ball here. His last 13 games, now at .450.
Well, the Phillies playing their outfield in with Guillorme, left-handed hitter. They're thinking he's going to slap it in. Watch the location here. Realmuto wants the pitch in. The ball leaks away. And Kyle Schwarber, because he was playing so shallow, no chance whatsoever. Luis Guillorme getting on base in scoring position with no outs, exactly what Buck Showalter wanted early in this game.
Yeah, the way it's gone for the Mets. If McNeil is down tonight, Guillorme in his place. And he starts things off with a double, which turns it over to Starling Marte, the right fielder. Really good speed inside. 1-0. Marte at 275, 315, and 409. He's got 4 homers. And in May, hitting .326. 7 doubles and a couple of homers. Way inside. Remember how this season started with the Mets getting hit like every game. I mean, they had been hit by 18, 19 pitches, and that was the narrative around the team. That's died down a little bit. Their play has been terrific, but we don't hear a lot about, boy, there's something about the baseball or our team that we're getting plunked all the time. 2-0. Starling rips that into left. Guillorme will be held by Cora at third as Schwarber sends it back in, but 111 off the bat of Starling Marte.
Few reasons why the Mets were getting hit early on in the season. One, the pitchers weren't ready yet. Short at spring training. 2, this lineup of the Mets, you have to pitch them in. You cannot let their hands get extended, because if they do, this is what happens. 111, as you said, off the bat. 2-0 count, you fall behind. You have to be able to hit your spots inside. If not, this is what the Mets have been doing since the season started.
That ball got to Schwarber in a hurry, didn't it?
Sure did. Hardest one Marte's had this year, and now Lindor, the shortstop. He's got an RBI in 6 straight games. In his last 6 games, he's hitting .455. He is the guy that you want up right now if you are the New York Mets. Take a look at what he's done April and May this year compared to last year. Early chance to get to Wheeler and the Phillies. That's foul.
I think one of the underrated parts of playing in New York, Carl, and you know this, and Eduardo, you as well. And that first year, it's not just about the big contract. It's just getting used to New York.
Yeah.
So much more media compared to Cleveland. Finding a place to live, getting to the ballpark, everything about it is a little more anxiety-ridden. It takes a little getting used to.
Mentioned the 6 straight games, 14 over his last 6, which is the most he's had in a 6-game span in his career. Guillorme at third, Marte good speed at first, Lindor jammed again, and it's 0-2.
So would you recommend a young baseball player, once they, for example, get to the Mets, to actually live in the city, or maybe live in a hotel around the airport?
I think the LaGuardia Marriott was good for me in 1987. Chicken wings at happy hour. I mean, that was my dinner.
But to answer the question, knowing that you probably wouldn't choose that as your first address, would you advise a youngster to live in the city, embrace it all?
I
Or does it
would.
depend on the person?
It depends on the family, you
Yeah.
know, obviously, but yeah, it's certainly the city affords itself the culture, the convenience, some of the best food in the world.
Yeah, Mark Canha, who is a foodie, is coming up down the road. So, I mean, the sort of secret in the booth here is, of course, when Eduardo Perez goes to a hotel, it's all about the towels. What do you recall about the towels at LaGuardia Marriott?
A little rough.
All right.
They work. They work, though.
The points have not expired, have they?
First and third, first inning. Francisco Lindor trying to put the Mets on top, and he fouls it straight back. Just given where these two teams are, first inning, this, and Zach Wheeler's your guy. This feels like a really big inning in this game. Your bullpen hasn't been great, and when he's on the mound, this is the win day.
But he has the ability to get out of this because he can strike guys out, and he understands how to be able to get ground balls from right-handed hitters.
Next one to Lindor, way inside. Given what Lindor is doing, how do you pitch to Lindor?
Well, I think if I've got Zach Wheeler's stuff, and he's very different against right-handed batters and lefties. Against lefties, it's predominantly four-seam and then that slider down and in. So his best swing and miss pitch is that back leg slider or elevated four-seamer.
7 stolen bases on the season for Marte. He's leading off first, not going. Next one, Lindor broken his bat. Hoskins looks, goes to second. Guillorme coming home. Throw off line. He's in. And Marte is still at second base. We need to see if there was an out call there. Starling is saying the foot came off the bag, so he's not leaving second base. Hoskins fielded it, looked Guillorme back, then opted to go to second to get the force there.
Yeah, keep an eye on Camargo right there. I thought he was out at second base, but then he double pumped, had trouble getting the ball out of the glove, and because of that, he pulled it. But watch that left foot. Is he off the bag? Yes, he is. Oh, my. From that angle right there, this does not look good at all for the Philadelphia Phillies to start this game once again.
No, good call by Jeremy Riak, who's the second base umpire. Hoskins did everything right, and perhaps Camargo, seeing Guillorme off third, got off the bag too quickly.
Actually,
the throw
yeah, took him off the bag.
That's the first run that Wheeler has given up in the first inning. Still nobody out, and here's Alonso.
Teams that struggle defensively are very indecisive when it comes to making big plays. Hoskins a little indecisive at first. Camargo a little indecisive on the throw home. You end up with nothing, nobody out.
Count the pitches now, the extra pitches that Zach Wheeler has to throw now. This is where it cost him later on in the game.
1-0 to Alonso. Right back up here. And just in front of us. Again, there's no Didi Gregorius. The Phillies have been without him for a while. And here's Hoskins.
Yeah, that throw right there just threw him off a little bit before he was able to even get the ball out of the glove to throw home.
Frustrating for the Phillies and their fans, a recurring theme with their defense costing them. Alonso swing wildly at that one and a miss.
The thing is, Wheeler made the pitch. Made the pitch, the wild throw right there, and then Camargo not being able to get the ball out of the glove.
Yeah, jam shot, hard cutter in on Lindor.
Came off the bat at 59 miles an hour. Alonso leads the league in RBIs with 46. And shallow right. Is anyone going to get to this one? Castellanos, he can't get it. It drops. And the Mets have the bases loaded. The last hit that Lindor put in play was 59 miles an hour, and this one was 70. That's a blooper that finds grass.
So the hardest ball hit in this game has been 111 miles per hour off Starling Marte. Even Luis Guillorme hit the ball well. This time, the perfect storm. You're playing deep, respecting the power. Segura is playing towards the shortstop side of the bag, and then you have Rhys Hoskins playing in, and because of it, it lands in no man's land, and the Philadelphia Phillies not a great start, as it was a good read holding halfway there by Francisco Lindor.
Right. So it's been a terrible start, and now you're just trying to minimize. You don't want this to become a disastrous start. He's got a chance here with the bases loaded, obviously. Ground ball double play with a force out at home. But a big-time jam now for Zach Wheeler. And the Phillies here in the first. Eduardo Escobar, the third baseman, bats for the Mets. Swings at the first one. Fielded to short. Camargo, no play. Another run comes in. They get one out, and they get another run. 2-0 Mets.
Escobar aggressive early in the count. And that's what you want there, to try to pull the ball. With nobody out, you get the RBI, you get the productive out as well.
Say this, Coney, you're a pitcher and you have swing and miss stuff. They're making contact. May not be hard, but they're making contact. And the Mets this season, while they've scored a lot of runs and their record is great, they haven't really hit the ball hard, which is kind of a interesting paradox. Usually you hit the ball hard, you win games, you get a lot of homers. They're not doing that, but they are winning. Now first and third for Mark Hanna. He's been terrific in May. 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and 15 runs scored. Hey! Strike one. Great personality, Mark Hanna. Interesting guy. And, of course, he and Bassett, they're like the odd couple a little bit, the way that they interact. Good friends, really close. Oakland, New York, both having big-time impacts. And has been playing left field tonight in center field. 0-1. Gets the call, strike 2 on the corner as he dots 96.
I'm talking to Buck Showalter before the game. The first thing he talks about when he describes a player is the character. He fits in with the type of personalities we want here, and certainly Mark Hanna fills that bill as well.
Averages 4.24 pitches per plate appearance so far this season.
Oh, 0-2. Lindor off third. Stays alive. They've been terrific with 2 outs, and they have been a pain with 2 strikes.
That was almost in Real Muto's mitt.
Yep.
Just fouling off that tough pitch. Respecting the slider and that 2-seamer.
The big spot for Wheeler right here to strand him, leave him out there if you can. It's been a tough inning. Murphy's Law so far. It's be a big lift.
22nd pitch of the first, and fouls another one off. You've had outings like this where the first inning and you're like, my gosh, nothing is going right. You just mentioned Murphy's Law. Do you think that way on the mound? Like, it's got to turn around?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself out there at times. A couple bloopers, defense, maybe misplay. 0-2, he's reading the bat right here on Kana. Kana's late, very late on these fastballs.
Also, the Phillies have been a team that have used PitchCom very aggressively early on in the season. Yet Zach Wheeler is not using PitchCom right now as JT Realmuto is putting down the fingers. As he studies the scouting report.
Wheeler was originally drafted by the Marlins in the 7th round out of Cal. He signed a 2-year, $26.5 million deal with an option for a 3rd year. Did Mark Hanna. And the next one from Wheeler. Jammed him. Lindor's going to come home. He's going to score. Bohm travels with it. He looked at second. He ends up going to first for the out. Nobody was covering third, but Escobar was on the ground after having slid. And the Mets add to their lead. It's 3-0.
The 2-seamer worked right there. Tried to get in at 96. He was able to. Good play by Alec Boehm right here. Once he fields it, has to take that extra step, does not panic, and gets Mark out at first.
All right, Coney, that one was 58 miles an hour off the bat. You talked about Murphy's Law. Do you realize they're not squaring the ball up other than Marte?
You do, and that was decision-making time. Did he try to go for a swing and a miss and do it on his own, or do you go with the two-seamer, try to get the ground ball? But if the ground ball's not hit hard enough, you can't turn two.
Here's Dom Smith, who is yet to homer this year for the New York Mets, and called strike one at 96 up in the zone.
I think the value of the swing and the miss by a power pitcher is very important in the middle of an inning like this. To do it by yourself, get a strikeout.
Ball. Yeah.
And just by making contact, the Mets now have 3 runs in the first inning.
Yep, exactly right.
And most importantly, 26 pitches from Zach Wheeler. Keeps adding up.
Ball. You can see some of the frustration in the body language of Wheeler. He didn't get, not that one, but the prior pitch. His defense hasn't helped him, and you saw that graphic. His 3 runs have all come without a hit being recorded by the Mets. Started with a double and a single, and then the Lindor's play really was the key play of the inning. That's way outside. Lindor's play was scored a fielder's choice RBI and an error on Hoskins on that throw to second base, which pulled Camargo off the bag.
I'm Dom Smith right here. I'm looking for something to hit out in front. Cut the plate in half, look either in or away, but commit to one.
3 balls and a strike. And a walk from Wheeler, a rare walk from Zach Wheeler. This is really the play that got this inning rolling for the Mets and unraveling for the Phillies. Bad throw from Hoskins.
And Camargo had seen him, and that's going home, Guillorme, and he was committed to it and decided to throw home, but he just had trouble getting the ball out of his glove. Sometimes middle infielders concede the run, go back, and just keep the foot on the bag after coming down. He decided to go home with it.
To the point we made earlier, Zach Wheeler has not gotten a swing and a miss when he had 39 over his past 2 starts. This is part of the Phillies' problem. They are minus 16 when it comes to outs above average. The Giants you generally would think of as a good defensive team, but they're also on this list with the Chicago White Sox, who got some bad news today as the shortstop Tim Anderson left the game, and he's now on the IL with a strained groin. So first and second, and a shocking start for Wheeler and the Phillies. That's Nick Plummer, the 8th man to come to the plate here in the first. And that is a first pitch fastball, strike 1. Again, Plummer just called up from Syracuse to spell Travis Jankowski. Saw the homers. He's got 6 at the AAA level. Swings and fouls this into the seats.
Can play all 3 outfield positions adequately, according to Buck Showalter, so that gives the versatility that the Mets need right now.
One thing that Zach told me yesterday against lefties, when he's going to throw the cutter, he says it's no secret around the league. He loves to throw it up and in to the left-handed hitters. The slider, he'll go down and in, as we said earlier.
0-2. And that is Wheeler's first swing and miss. But the New York Mets, in front of a Sunday night crowd here, give them 3 early runs. Second inning. Phillies got a bounce. Next week, Sunday Night Baseball, Chicago for the Cardinals and the Cubs. They are finishing their first 5-game series of the season at Wrigley. The call's on ESPN. Also available on ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. Our coverage starts at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. Good crowd on hand, 71 degrees. The first of perhaps many for that young baseball fan. Memorial Day weekend. Somber holiday as we honor all those that lost their lives in protection of this country, and a mile marker of the season when it comes to baseball. As you look at sort of being the quarter pole. It's funny, last year 6 teams that were in first place on Memorial Day, only 2 of them finished in first place. So we start the second inning and Chris Bassett takes over with a 3-0 lead. Castellanos could not hold up. 0-1. Right fielder with 5 homers, 24 RBIs, but he hasn't hit one in 73 at bats. He's got to get going.
It's a little different dynamic this year too, with the expanded postseason format that was agreed to. So if you're taking inventory, as you said, at the 25% mark in the year, Joe Girardi's message was, you know what, we're going to turn it around. It's okay. And every year we get that reminder of how long the season is. And it was the Braves last year who had a big second half of the season that carried them all the way through.
And the teams that were doing well, like the Mets, are reminded this is still a long season.
Yes.
You've got to cross that finish line. Next one to Castellanos. That's a little high, and that's not a call that tonight Ryan Wills is giving, because a couple have pierced the top of that K zone and they have not been called strikes. So Bassett behind 3-1. Castellanos, Gene, Segura, and Hoskins. 3-2. He's calling the low ones. And do you take note of that as a pitcher?
You do take note of it, and that's really the emphasis too, is how good your catcher at framing that low pitch, which is really why you see a lot of catchers catching on one knee, because of that exactly.
Guillorme is right up the middle, shaded on the shortstop side, so plenty of room on the right side for Castellanos. Former home run hitter of the Reds. 3-2, swing and a miss, and Bassett battles back. He throws from that bowling ball sinker to pick up the second strikeout.
That was some sick movement right there, Coney. When he goes back to see the movement on that two-seamer, you don't know why he definitely missed it. See where it starts and where it ends up, and watch how Mazeka catches it.
A little lower release point too, and that's part of that. We talked about his glove kind of being loose and low to the ground. That's getting it out of the way so you can get through that sinker, and at a high velocity as well. 9 more inches of sink than the average sinker in Major League Baseball at that velocity.
Having conversations with umpires, they actually have told me that it's a lot more difficult to call the pitch down low because of the way the catchers squat now with that knee down. They usually use the knees as to measure the pitch down low where they receive it with the height of the knee of the catcher. Most of the catchers now, you see how they are with that knee down. It changes the game, and the umpire calling, especially on that low strike.
Bassett's been a bargain this year, and prior to his outing in San Francisco where he got lit for 8 runs, his ERA jumped from 2.77 to 3.91. But for a while it was he and Scherzer. Taijuan Walker's made a nice comeback for the New York Mets. Peterson's been terrific. Watch Mazeka where his glove is. He doesn't necessarily give you a big target. He puts that glove down. Is that something that you discuss with your pitcher? Or is that just a catcher's way of doing it? And you throw it, I'll catch it.
Yeah, I think that the theory behind it is that catchers that go from low to high get better calls. It's a better framing position to call the low pitch. You show the target there, and then halfway through the glove goes down, relax the hand, and then catching down to up is a better framing position, a stronger position to present the ball to the umpire.
And just like an infielder, from down to up.
Still one of the most contentious issues for a lot of old school ball players and coaches about catchers catching on one knee.
Segura into right. That's going to get down. Phillies get their first hit, their first base runner, Gene Segura. A single into right off a changeup.
That changeup misses location. Wants it inside, goes away, and big league hitters, they consistently will find barrel if you hit it, if you throw it into their hitting zone, and that's exactly what Gene Segura got right there with that cambio.
That's what he's doing so much better this year, swinging at good pitches, much more than he ever has.
With Dom Smith holding Segura on at first, Rhys Hoskins has the entire right side of the infield if he chooses to try to get a ball to go through and bring the tying run up. Bender in there, strike one. A curveball at 71 to start him.
It's a pleasing pitch to the eye for fans too, right? Big,
sure is.
Big slow hook. Everybody can see it.
Oh, 1 to Hoskins. Gives him another slider this time, so a couple of breaking pitches to get him going, and it's 0-2. Hoskins is a bit of an enigma. Got all sorts of potential. 7 homers, 23 RBIs, a low batting average, 220, although many people cast that aside if you can get some power. Instead, a slow roller. Lindor got him at first. And there are 2 down.
That's some run right there, right into your hands.
Textbook execution from Bassett right here. After the 2 slow breaking balls, saws him in half with a nasty sinker running in the low to mid 90s.
Right-handed hitter, Eddie, if you know that's the pitch that's going to be thrown to you, anything you can do knowing a sinker's coming into my hands?
Well, the problem is when he's able to throw the curveball and slider for strikes, and he's throwing them on the outside corner, and then he throws that bowling ball sinker in. You're like, wait a second, you can't have all 3, but he does early in the game.
JT Realmuto. Hey! Yeah, he looks at a slider to get ahead. 0-1. Going to be something to keep an eye on. Bassett's ability to throw strike one with a 3-0 lead.
We're looking at an 18-mile-per-hour differential between that slider and that 2-seam fastball.
Realmuto had a big hit last night, put the Phillies up early, and then the Mets rallied, and then the Phillies defense contributed to the Mets putting a big number on the board. If the Mets go for a sweep in this series, they haven't swept anybody this season in spite of their 31-17 record. Good pitch on the corner, and it's 1 ball 2 strikes. JT wonders, is that as far out as we're going to allow?
That has to be a good feeling for a pitcher when you can land that pitch and then you look at the hitter, look back at the umpire, and just ask him a question like, if he can throw that for a strike and you're calling it, how am I supposed to hit the pitch in?
Yes, and drop down a little bit on that one, as Bassett will do. He'll change his release point, especially on breaking stuff, and up shoot 4-seamers.
It's a great look there at Bassett. He said no to 3 pitches that were delivered via PitchCom. Realmuto stepped out. He liked the next pitch, which is going to be this one on 1-2. Got him! And they're on the same page. Just a straight 95-mile-an-hour 4-seam fastball for strikeout number 3. Looks like the Mets have the good Chris Bassett on the mound tonight as they lead 3-0 to the bottom of the 2nd. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies defense, many people will say, well, they are what we thought they would be. It's an error. Stott threw over the first baseman's head. Watch Herrera, the center fielder, after he gets run into. He's like, really? We're doing this out here? That was last night. And then tonight, the play that Hoskins drew Camargo off the bag, and then the throw home got away from Realmuto. Girardi will say, look, this has been a bad trip There's nothing we can do or say about it defensively. We have not been good this trip. But he will argue that they can be consistently good. Doesn't mean consistently great. He thinks they can be consistently good. Do you think, Eddie, they can be consistently good with the people, the personnel they have out there?
Well, I've spoken with a lot of advanced scouts and respectable scouts from other organizations, and you look around the field position by position, they have actually graded the best defender a 45 in the scouting report. And again, a 45 is a fringe to average player defensively. And that's their reality.
So
that's
their best is a fringe to average. Their best.
Their best defensively.
Who's their best? Real Muto?
Real Muto behind the plate, but on the field.
Didi when he's playing, and he's not
45.
great.
And that's where other organizations, other reputable scouts, that's where they grade them. And again, 50 is major league average. 60 is a plus.
Patrick Bezeca rolled over. 3 unassisted to Hoskins. We go back to the top of the order. Luis Guillorme. Hey!
I think what he's talking about is just catch the ones you're supposed to catch. Be as close to average as you can be, and then bang them. Then they're designed to score runs. But the fact that their DH is locked up because of Harper's injury really jams them up defensively.
That
as well.
does.
Absolutely it does. But a lot of times they do make play. They catch the ball. The problem then is the fundamentals of throwing and following through. Using your legs, staying through. We saw the Stott error. Came up.
Guillorme, who doubled earlier in the game, going that way into the seats.
And Carl, with the $233 million that they have committed to this roster, those things, the little things, can't happen when you already are a 45 graded by other scouts.
1-2. And Guillorme gone. Good pitch from Wheeler. Got him a chase at 97. So 2 up, 2 down here in the second. Well, Dave Dombrowski, who of course is responsible for putting this group together, is here in New York with the Phillies as we take a look at Guillorme chasing. And oftentimes in baseball, especially this time of year, you get to Memorial Day, you're underachieving, highest payroll in team history. The focus generally goes on the manager, but you could certainly make the case that the lineup construction, the roster construction, led you to think they can pitch. The starting pitching is good. The bullpen's a question. They're probably going to score, but the defense is suspect at best.
And they knew that coming in. They placed their bets on offense, on bats.
You know, you think about the Milwaukee Brewers, whose pitching is tremendous. Their bullpen is great, which is really a difference between the Phillies, who, when Nola is right, and he was great last night, and Wheeler is really good, their starting staffs can be comparable. There's Dave Dombrowski there. Hey! They do score just enough. Like, they're not going to get 8 runs, but they'll win the 2-0 game. They'll win the 3-1 game. Hard to put 5 up every night and hope that the defense doesn't kick it away.
You good?
I mean, Dombrowski, as you guys know, he's brought in to win. That's what we do. We're here, we're spending money, we're winning. And with all that on you and the pressure, like that old movie, something's got to give.
But he took a risk. The risk was the reward of Castellanos and Schwarber.
Yep.
To be able to hit. Not expecting Schwarber to be out in the outfield this long.
Marte, pop up. Segura, he says it's mine. And it is. All right, Mets fans, baseball fans. 2-time defending home run derby champion, that guy, Pete Alonso, set to come up when we come back. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Our telecast tonight is presented by Taco Bell. Mets got off to a good start, scored 3 runs in the first inning and lead it 3-0. You take a look at the fans here, many of them wearing Pete Alonso jerseys. You see a Lindor jersey, a little Rosario jersey, Jacob deGrom, the great Tom Seaver with his new statue outside. Mets back in the field. Phillies set to bat here in the top of the 3rd inning. First pitch outside. All right, let's see if Pete Alonso, who's down in the dugout as the DH tonight with the earpiece in. Pete, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear now.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys having me.
Give me a little feel for where the Mets are. I don't mean tonight, but just in general. What's this year been like for you with the new manager, et cetera?
I mean, it's been really exciting, not just like from a staff standpoint, but player personnel as well. I mean, having a lot of new, fresh faces come in, and it's just been really exciting because we have so much talent. And then also when you mix talent with guys pulling in the same direction, it just creates this unbelievable environment, and it's so fun to play every single night.
This one into shallow left center, coming hard.
All
the left
over.
fielder.
Oh.
No, he slid and didn't get it. Nick Plummer off his glove and into second base goes Rubel Herrera. Tough play for Plummer. I think he almost got there so quick he probably didn't necessarily have to go to a slide. Eddie, you got a frown on your face.
Yeah, this is not how you want to start off your first play here at left field. And once he's coming in sliding, you can see that he was on his heels a little bit before. Watch how he steps heel first, and once you start running with your heels, that ball just appears like it's bouncing midair. Now you have to guess at where it's going to land. Tough position to be in.
Yohan Camargo bats now. Official score has ruled that a double. We'll see if they change that. Pete Alonso with the microphone and the earpiece in. And now Bassett swing and a miss.
Oh boy.
Is this what you would do during a game? Not that you DH all the time, but do you watch very closely and kind of do a little play-by-play in your own mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I think understanding the flow of the game and how it's unfolding, I think is incredibly important, because the one thing I don't want to do is just go up there like I'm pinch hitting 4 times. I want to be super engaged in the game and just be locked in, because the game can tell you a lot just by watching. Like for example, knowing how the opponent is gonna pitch, not just you, but the entire squad. So if you can go up there with a plan and watch what he's feeling, watch what the opponent is doing, you can have a really good understanding of what you're going to get in that next at bat.
2 balls and a strike. So give us a little example, because Buck Showalter obviously worked with us. We sat with him in the green room. We learned an incredible amount. Have you learned a lot from Showalter, and maybe share some of the examples of things that you're like, how do you ever see that? Where'd you come up with that?
Well, I can't necessarily come up with an example on top of my head, but the one thing that he does, he doesn't necessarily try and reinvent the wheel, but what he does, he has a very unique perspective on the game, and it's a pretty simplistic and realistic approach. And you take what the game gives to you, and pretty much the one thing he loves to do is just see what team is you're up against that day, because I mean, whether they're hit well or their body language, he goes a lot based on feel and past experience, but also the way that he's blending our analytics and all the research and development that we have. He's doing an unbelievable job. So he's using his old school experience. I mean, he's been around the game for years and years, but he's just been absolutely incredible. Guys, we got one of my favorite teammates here. Jeff McNeil wants to say hello to everybody. He wants to say to his dog Willow back at home.
By the way, Pete, Buster Olney is sick at home today. Can you please be our Buster Olney and go ahead and ask Jeff a couple questions and make sure that the mic is close enough so he can answer?
Yeah, Jeff. Real quick question. What is the movie that you've been watching the most today, or have been watching the most the past couple weeks? What's your favorite movie?
I don't know.
Why not?
I'll give you. Go with Chaz. Go with Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
I've been watching Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, he's been watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his new hit / home run celebration.
Living the dream.
Living the dream every day.
Living the dream.
Viviendo el sueño.
Meatloaf. Mom, Meatloaf.
I don't want to say the second part of that line.
Right now, Pete, we're looking at you and McNeil from last night in the rain with the Living the Dream dance.
Oh yes. Oh yes, that's a fun one. Jeff started to do it. I don't know, the past couple days, and I thought it would be really fun to do it back at him.
So McNeil's got a dog. Somebody told me do you have a dog too?
Yes, I have two. I got a French Bulldog and a Boston Terrier.
So the polar bear goes with the little toy dogs. I love that.
Well, don't tell them that. They're tiny bodies with big personalities.
That's right. I'm a pug dog owner, so I know all about little guys with personalities.
Absolutely. Big
Pete,
personalities.
Pete, how are you different? And we've interviewed you in the middle of the home run derby. How are you different?
How am I different?
How are you different now than you are during the derby?
Well, right now it's a little bit different, but during the derby, it's. I mean, when I did that interview with guys, I was really pumped up and just locked in and focused. Like for me, I kind of have my attack plan ready to go. So going through and at bat is more of a mental battle and a power of discipline. Where the home run derby, even though you have to have discipline and endurance, but also it's more of a physical event. But this right here, it's almost a chess battle. So previous at bat, got 3 sliders and a fastball up, swung at a slider, and got really fortunate with my Harry Potter wand placement of that ball over the. Yes. But for me, it's like I know that he's gonna try and attack with fastballs up and sliders down and away. So I don't know if I'm going to see a bunch of sliders next at bat, but if I was to count on it, I'm gonna stay disciplined over the heart of the dish and get that slider on the dish and see it middle.
All right, so on the field, 2 men on, tying run at the plate, and that is Schwarber. Bassett's ahead 1-2. We told you at the top.
He's gonna saw him off right here with a cutter up and in.
Tried with a slider, but it ended up down. Yep. Give me a little Alonso insight into this game. I'm good with that. You kind of play along. What do you think Bassett's going to do? And
Schwartz has great power. I mean, he's killed us in the past with the long ball many a time, so we're all too familiar. So right now we want a double play ball. So he's going to try and set up that cutter up and in, or two-seam off the plate, and he's going to try and get a ground ball to the middle of the field. And hopefully it goes right to Francisco. He steps on the bag and throws it right to Dom. So that's what we're shooting for right now.
Yeah, Lindor to the second base side of second base with the shift on against Schwarber. 2-2. That's high. 3 balls, 2 strikes. You're fortunate, Pete. You're having a terrific year offensively. How much of a nightmare would it be to face your own staff?
Well, I mean, we got some of the best arms out there, and I mean, it's crazy because we got Jake DeGrom, Max Scherzer, and Tyler McGill resting up and rehabbing. So, I mean, when those guys come back, it's going to be scary for opposing hitters. I faced those guys in lives in spring, and man, it's really not fun when you're trying to get your timing, especially that early in the year.
That's up 3-zip, and the Phillies threatening here in a third. An error by Plummer ruled a double off his glove. Here it comes.
There it is. There's a cutter, or the 4-seam in. So mind you, a lot of people think that first and second you don't have a base open. If you're gonna miss, you're gonna miss there because you can walk them, and then now you can get a double play, regroup with Hef going out to the mound. So hopefully we get a shallow pop up and then a double play, shallow pop up or strikeout and then a double play.
Now, were you always like this, Pete, growing up and through high school and college in Florida? This thoughtful through the game, or did that develop?
No, I always try to think along with the game because if you think along, you don't really get surprised as much. I mean, the reason why baseball is unbelievable, because if you go to the yard every single day, you're going to see something new. And you can have as much experience as Skip, as Buck, and you'll see something new every single day.
Absolutely.
And then also, one funny thing that you can count on is that there's always one foul ball between the legs every single game. It doesn't matter who. That's almost like an automatic.
Huh. I'd never thought of that. Alec Bohm bats with the bases loaded, and Bassett misses up. You get a feel for the strike zone, Peter? Is he calling down strikes and leaving the ones up for balls?
Well, I didn't really have any strikes that I took, so I don't really know to this point, and I see stuff from the side, and a lot of things from the side look really good. You guys probably have a better view of the zone than I do.
And we got all sorts of TV monitors up here. And
yeah, you guys
cameras.
got the nice little floaty box over the plate.
Looks a lot easier from up here, Pete.
Yeah, down here the strike zone's just a theory, but when you have the nice little floaty box, it's a definitive thing.
A theory.
No, it's all about perception. The strike zone, when you think about it, the catcher, the pitcher, the hitter, or 4 people, and the umpire all perceive it differently.
Pete, would you be in favor in the future of an automatic strike zone, robot umpires?
I mean, I haven't really seen the auto strike zone like perfected. If I saw it perfected, then for sure. But I think that there's a lot of bugs that need to be worked out right now. But it's interesting. There's our 2-ball. Pick, yeah, good boy.
Pete, we're about to show the replay. Again, you saw it visually. I want you to explain to the audience what you saw defensively from Guillorme. Right here, go.
Here, hold on. I don't know if you guys are talking. A lot of noise going on.
Because Harper's coming up, so the boos were there. Tell us about the footwork around the bag. Guillorme flipping it to Lindor.
Yeah, it's loud down there.
So a good moment here. Harper 3-1 game, chance with a long ball to tie it, and he's having MVP type numbers again.
Who's the best talker when they get to first base, Pete?
Sorry, what was
best
that?
Conversation when you get when a runner gets to first base.
Well, I had a really good Bryce is a really good conversationalist, believe it or not. I always enjoy when he's over there. But honestly, like, I don't enjoy the damage he does to us, but I enjoy our conversations. Nick Castellanos is pretty good. He's pretty good over there. And obviously guys that I played high school with or travel ball with, growing up with, those are usually the best combos.
0-2. Pete Alonso due up second next inning for the Mets as Bassett tries to limit the damage.
Really see how stubborn Bassett is on
100%.
the mound. He will not give in, not only with all of his pitches, but he'll wait to throw what he wants to throw.
The crowd boos the batter for getting out. It's because Bassett's shaken off 7 or 8 times. You already have a plan, Pete, for when you go up next half inning?
To be honest, guys, I'm not gonna have this earpiece in. You're just gonna hear just kind of like maybe some self-talk, or hopefully, because I don't want to lose this expensive piece of equipment that's in my ear, and I don't want the ground screw to go searching for it.
No. We would never ask you to wear the earpiece when you're at the plate. Just keep the microphone. That's we're out of your ear, brother.
Oh,
guys,
he didn't go. My question was, did you have a plan already prior to going up, your approach?
Oh, absolutely. You're gonna see the slider on the plate. I'm gonna draw draw a line, see the ball, and not swing at anything off the dish. So, I mean, Zach loves to throw up and in with his fastball, and then down and away with the slider. So I'm gonna get everything over the heart of the plate and put my best swing on it, hit a line drive with a big part of the field.
Hey, Pete, from your vantage point, how spread out is Bryce Harper right now with 2 strikes? Have you seen him this spread out before?
I hope Seabass throws a sinker from hell right here. Oh.
Mazeka has no idea where the ball is, and it wasn't like he was going to catch it.
Yeah, we're taking a look right now at Bryce Harper's setup. He's going no stride whatsoever on the pitch. Set down low. Reminds me a lot of Jimmy Edmonds. Back in the day when he was spread out, 0 stride with 2 strikes.
Come on, Bass.
One ball, 2 strikes. That's a sign of respect, isn't it, Pete? All these boos. I assume you go to places and get booed every now and then.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, I assume you get booed every now and then. That's a sign of respect for Harper, isn't it?
Yes. Well, he's got 2 bases open, and if he makes a mistake, if he makes a mistake and Bryce capitalizes, that's no bueno. That's no bueno for the Metros. Good pitch. Change the eye level. Maybe go up there one more time and then finish him. Finish him with something soft. Come on, Bass. There it is. Oh man. That looked good from here. Where'd you guys have that one?
Outside.
Little outside.
Was that off the plate?
Yes.
Yeah, it was off.
Okay.
The floating box didn't catch that one.
I wonder if the guys next to you are wondering the same thing, and you're the only one there that knows.
Come on, Bass. Oof. Good at bat. Good pitching, good at bat.
Well, you mentioned it, base open, so Harper now down to first, and here comes Castellanos.
Yeah, now you got the right matchup. Bass did a good job executing there. Just barely missing, just off the plate. Did a great job executing. Good sequence by Mazeka. If you're going to miss, that's your miss right there. Now you get a right-on-right favorable matchup.
Pete, you won the home run derby in Cleveland. You won it in Colorado. Harper's won a home run derby. Is there anybody you'd like to face in a home run derby to prove that you are the greatest power hitter in the game?
I mean, there's no one specifically I'd like to face. I mean, I just think the event is so fun, and I feel like that, like just me doing it, I'm just living out a dream. So, I mean, I'm just out there having fun, and whoever I'm against, that's the cards that I'm dealt, and I just want to just go out there and win whoever. Like if I do it, like I just want to go out there and win whoever's my competition.
1-0 to Castellanos.
Oh,
that
no.
one got him, and now the bases are loaded.
Okay, this is interesting. Yesterday, JT Realmuto, with replay, they said that he was hit. Now Nick Castellanos is claiming that it also hit his hand. Yet the home plate umpire called it a foul ball. Let's see right here on the replay. What do you see at home? I think it hit the knob.
It looked like the knob, too. Ryan Wills is going to call Alan Porter, the third base umpire, into this discussion. This did happen just yesterday.
But watch the reaction again. A lot of the hitters will tell you exactly what happened not here.
Call on the field is a foul ball. Philadelphia is challenging that the batter was hit by the pitch.
All right, let's see what we got. Oh. I've had that happen many times. It does not feel good, even with a hand pad.
You're looking at that big screen up top. Do you see that ball hit the knob or Castellanos? Kind of a loaded question given your position in this game.
Tony, I think the biggest issue here is that it was called a foul ball. If it would have been called a hit by pitch, most likely I think this play stands one way or another.
Exactly. I don't think you see enough evidence to overturn the call on the field.
So this is the thing. If that happens, you need to take all your gloves off and then show the bruise. Because I've had that happen where the umpire said it was a foul ball, and then I showed the bruise on my hand, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, that hit you. Go to first."
And what if the bruise had already been there and then you did that to the umpire?
I'd be pinching myself right now. But when you're hitting well and everything's going well, you'll stay there. You're like, oh, it's a foul ball. That's a foul ball. Watch how you can still see a little bit of the knob on the tight right.
Castellanos looks like a cricket player with all the padding on his arm and his hand.
You call the field stands.
Tried just to kind of give you the audio at home and let you listen whether that was bat or glove. That's always hard for me to distinguish between, especially a knob, whether that was off of a hand, bone, or bat. So it's 1-1, first and third.
There it is.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Bassett throwing the most pitches in any inning so far this year, approaching 30 pitches this inning. Previously, the most he'd thrown in any one inning was 25. Pitch number 33 actually coming up.
Pete. Hey, Pete.
Yeah, what's up?
If you do get up and hit a homer, will you kind of describe your run around the bases to everybody at home?
Oh, the homer trot around the bases,
Yeah,
that's probably one of the best feelings ever.
But when you do that, next up, give us a little play-by-play. Castellanos is gone. Alonso coming up. Pete, thanks for sharing all that information with us. We appreciate it. You were great.
All right. If it happens next at bat, I'll give you guys a play-by-play. All right.
Love that. Love it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Here,
See you, bud.
I'm gonna take care.
Welcome back, everyone. ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Jim Beam. Please drink responsibly. I learned a lot there. I didn't realize that Alonso was such a student of the game in the moment. And as our great researcher Sarah Langs pointed out, there's a good chance that that conversation we just had, he was going to have whether we were part of it or not. He is into the game. And he bats second after Lindor. First pitch from Wheeler misses. And that was a long half inning with only 1 run across. Lindor, Alonso, Escobar. It was Lindor's fielder's choice, and the error kind of got that inning going for New York. In the first, they scored 3. Lindor just foul. What was your takeaway from listening to Pete?
The pitching philosophy reminded me a lot of Keith Hernandez about base open, don't give in to this guy, don't let Harper beat you, even first and second with nobody out. He was talking about an open base. Very much one step ahead in terms of strategy and who to let beat you and who to pitch around.
With 2 strikes, the Phillies go into their shift defense. Bohm has moved between Hoskins and Segura on the right side. Lindor gone, caught by Realmuto. That's 5 in a row now for Zach Wheeler, and strikeout number 3. And here comes number 20 for the Mets. That's Pete Alonso. You know, I don't know that a lot of people would say since 2019 Alonso's the guy that's got more homers than anybody else. He'd be in the conversation. 3rd in RBIs, 5th in games played. First pitch 95. It was the sinker.
Keep an eye on Alonso's handle compared to what we saw from Castellanos.
0-1. Oh, that's a fastball that missed up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Still a simple game, and what Alonso pointed out, Eduardo, is what you probably would teach as a hitting coach was get good pitches to hit. For a pitcher, it's about getting a hitter to chase, to hit pitchers' pitches, and Alonso talks about getting a ball over the center of the plate.
1-1, big rip at it from Pete. Then he sends it back here. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Easier said than done, but that's still the battle.
Easier said than done, right. Get a pitch to hit.
At least 1 RBI in half the games the Mets have played this month.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, full power. That's my charging cord.
Just asked by the home plate ump, are you mic'd up? That's a hard fastball, 98 miles an hour, but off.
3-2.
That has some life, huh?
Yeah, just such a nice loose delivery, loose arm from Wheeler. We talked about his great extension, reaching out.
Deep concentration from Alonso. Across the walk.
Told you. Singing up the songs.
Let's see if Pete gives us a little play-by-play right there, at least. As we already know, he will talk to himself. Great takes.
Well, he'll have a pretty good conversation with his first stagecoach, too, Wayne Kirby. So Alonso's at first, 1 man down, and here comes Eduardo Escobar. And again, the Phillies go into a shift.
Sweet with your words, I'm mic'd up.
Shift can present challenges on ground ball double plays with getting the fielder back to the second base bag. Hey! Strike 1 to Escobar.
Yeah.
Let's listen in. Tell you what, if he hits a gapper right here, I would love to hear the breathing.
Yeah, dude. People stayed away from me like the damn plague.
No balls, 2 strikes. Buck Showalter was talking about Billy Epler and how they were both groomed in the Yankee organization under Stick Michael. And in a lot of ways, they see so many things in the game very similarly, including players and personalities.
I'm trying, Pete.
He got his stolen base this year.
Yeah, I got 1. 1 bag.
More than 0 is enough.
Don't have a triple yet.
Ooh, see, I got 1 of those. No bag yet.
Huh?
How many you had last year? How many SBs you had last year?
How many baggies?
Yeah.
Oh, I had 3.
You had 3?
Yeah. First career bag was off of Romuto, actually. Gold Glover.
6 career stolen bases for Pete. He has not been caught stealing. 1-2. And this one to Hoskins. He will go to second. They'll get that one back to first. Not in time. Pete did what he could to slow down Camargo's ability to make a quick, clean throw, and Escobar is safe at first base.
Escobar faster than you think. He gets down the line here.
He gets down the line this time. Hoskins throws it up above Pete, but at least gives Camargo a target. Doesn't really put a lot behind it. And because of it, maybe that's the reason why Eduardo was able to get there, as Camargo had to wait. Throws up.
And now Canna with 2 down in the third. And just below the strike zone for Wheeler, whose pitch count continues to climb. A lot of pitches in that second inning. Straight up on the infield. Center field is shaded. Odubel Herrera towards right. Big spot in left center field for Canna. A few of those ex-A's players slash manager are doing pretty well this year. Bassett, Canna, Melvin in San Diego.
They are. They cleaned house there.
Sure did. Olson.
Manaea.
Sean Manaea. Hey! So it hasn't come easy. So how do you deal with a game like this? Like, what's Wheeler's thinking? Is it pitch to pitch? Is it inning to inning?
Yeah, his thinking has to be that's all they get. You have a tough first inning, regardless of how it happened or what happened. You had a 32-pitch first inning, 3 runs on the board. You want to be out there in the 6th or 7th inning, and 3 runs are still on the board. That's all they get is the line that you tell yourself. It's what the bench says.
One, two, rocketed to center field. That sends Herrera back, but he's there and he makes the play. It was the first inning in which he threw 32 pitches, a little more efficient here as he works around the walk. Through 3, it's a 3-1 game. Mets on top. What do you say? Download the MLB app to get video highlights, live pitch by pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your favorite team and the rest of the league. Back here at Citi Field, which opened back in 2009, replaced Shea, which first opened in 1964. We're in the 4th inning of a 3-1 game. Chris Bassett, Zach Wheeler. That's got 3 in the first. That's poured in there for strike 1. So what did Pete say? That there's a foul ball in between somebody's legs every game?
Yeah, on the swing between the legs. Sometimes you see all the shin guards that the right-handed hitters have on the left leg or left-handed hitters have on the right leg. He says there's always one hit because of so many sinker ballers in the game.
Right back up the middle, ranging to his left. Quick pick and a throw to first. Well done by Luis Guillorme.
Know the hitter, know the runner, and that's what Luis Guillorme has done so well as a New York Met, understanding that Gene Segura gets down the line well. Backhands it, doesn't have time to take that extra step, throws off his right foot the way he should. and gives an opportunity to Dominic Smith to make the play at first.
See a big deep breath from Bassett too there after a long inning in his last effort. Gets the first guy out here on 4 pitches.
Rhys Hoskins, he may get another one out on one more pitch as Lindor fires across the diamond. Hoskins retired. 2 ground ball outs for Bassett.
Well, the thing that makes Bassett so effective, you see on the left-hand side, the tunneling effect to a lefty of a sinker, 4-seamer, and a cutter, and on the right-hand side, throwing that sinker in is so effective, but he also will change his arm angle a little lower, sometimes on that 4-seamer and the sinker as well. So a lot of different looks, it's very subtle nuances to his delivery and the movement profile that he features.
Now, when you pitched, and this isn't really dating yourself, but when you pitched, like all this information, all these technological advances weren't there. Do you think you would have been a different pitcher, done things differently? Because you did change arm angles. Like, were you just doing that naturally, what they're now kind of being taught to do?
I've been obsessed with the spin on a baseball since I had a wiffle ball in my hand at almost 9 years old. So yes, now that we can measure this stuff, I would have been all over it.
0-2.
The evaluation of pitches, you know, what's good or what's not compared to league average.
You didn't have all the cameras and the immediate feedback, whether it be through an iPad or literally through numbers that spit out on a computer.
No, we just had the eye test.
That's right.
And a pitching coach sitting behind you and a catcher telling you what looked good and what didn't.
0-2, trying to go 1-2-3 in the inning. Real Muto on the ground, charged. Escobar, good inning for Bassett as Smith backpedals across the bag. Chris Bassett gets through that half, throwing 8 pitches. Bottom 4, Citi Field on a Sunday night on Memorial Day weekend. It's 3-1 Mets. Big Zach Wheeler back on the mound for the best coverage in today's game. Let's take a look at Wheeler through the T-Mobile multi-view.
When we talk about extension on a fastball, what we're talking about is how closely he releases the ball to home plate. So a long stride and then how far he reaches out there shortens the distance to home plate. He's ranked in the top 5 in the major leagues in that category. 7 feet 2 inches of extension right there when he's releasing the ball to home plate. Logan Gilbert's the only one really more at 7 feet 3 inches, just by 1 inch. Sean Manaea, Garrett Whitlock too, and his teammate Tyler McGill.
Yeah.
So that's something that's very subtle but makes a difference. That's the difference between actual velocity and perceived velocity. You're reaching that close to home plate, the ball jumps on the hitter quicker.
That StatCast powered by Google Cloud. I was looking at the list of names there. Is there any commonality between them? Is it their physical size? Is it their literally their extension with their leg, or is it their arm, or a combination of all of it?
Combination of all. Stride length has something to do with it. It helps that you're taller.
Yeah.
I mean, Randy Johnson almost looked like he was handing the ball to home plate. I know you probably faced him a few times, Eduardo, and he threw hard enough as it was.
Sometimes you could smell his breath.
1 ball, 1 strike. Wheeler to Dom Smith. That's in there for strike 2.
Try to extend that far right now. If you put me on the mound, you might have to pick me up with a stretcher as I'll pull groin easily. Hip flexor gone.
Called strike 3, and Zach Wheeler, since that first inning, really settled in and calmed things down.
And again, it was at the end of the season of 2017 that Zach Wheeler started using the analytics in his favor, started really diving into the numbers. Last days as a Met in 2018, came in and just said, okay, what can I do to be better? Do I use that 2-seamer to lefties? We don't see that anymore from him. And he's using those numbers and using it to perfection here with the Phillies since he's put on that uniform.
Strike 1 and Nick Plummer. Travis Jankowski's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a fracture in his left hand. As the manager, Showalter, said, loss of a very useful player for us. 824 OPS in Syracuse, and Jankowski was terrific late game speed and defense in the fourth outfielder. Brandon Nimmo is not available, sprained joint in his right wrist. And that injury actually dates back to a series with the Phillies in early May. Had a cortisone shot, could play as early as tomorrow. Swing and a miss from Plummer. He's out. So Wheeler back-to-back strikeouts. He's got 5 punch-outs and has allowed just a walk in the 3rd inning. As far as hits or base runners go. And Patrick Mazeka. Coney, you said his goal is to make sure it stays at 3. He's currently looking like a guy who's determined to keep it at 3, and he's pounding the strike zone now.
Starting to mix in a little more off speed, and for Wheeler, it's not a changeup, as Eduardo pointed out. It's more of a curveball in the lower 80s at 83. That's how he gets some velocity off of the baseball. Everything else is power oriented.
Bohm is in shallow right field, and this one is snared at the shortstop position by Camargo. Not an easy play. Stayed down, and only 9 pitches needed for Zach Wheeler. You can feel the game settling in as far as the pitchers go. Through 4, 3-1. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Our telecast presented by Taco Bell. Before the game, David Cohn caught up with his former teammate Joe Girardi.
Joe, good to see you. Thanks
good
for
to
doing
see you,
this.
Coney.
It's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
You got any autograph shows coming up? You know me in the offseason?
Well, I'm sure we will have one. We usually have one a year, and thanks to you,
Yeah,
I get to sign underneath you.
We'll always be connected all
That's
those
right.
years. I'm thankful
Love
for that.
it. I am
Yes.
too.
You've had a hell of a run. You've managed in big markets, Yankees. You've seen the pressure. Obviously, pressure in Philly.
Yeah.
The start, Bryce Harper. You get superstar. Talking about, hey, these games matter in April and May. I mean, how do you keep the perspective going here in terms of what's happened already?
Right.
That's disappointing, and then moving forward, how things are going to turn around.
Well, I think you always have to remember that every day does matter. But you also have to remember it's a 162-game schedule. It's not a 45-game schedule or a 50-game schedule. So, the key is that you try to improve all the time, whatever it takes. And you might take a couple steps backwards, but the work is there, the players are putting it in, and I really believe that this is going to turn around.
These plans coming in, everybody said, wow, you guys are going to slug. You had a great offensive club. Defensively, how's this going to shake down? Now you're kind of, Bryce with his injury, he's locked into the DH hole. Has that jammed you up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would have preferred to rotate the DH a little bit between those 3 guys, Harp, Castellanos, and Schwarber, but we have not been able to do that. Thank God for the DH, because we've been able to keep Bryce in the lineup, and he's having an outstanding year, but it puts a little bit more on the other guys from a physical standpoint, having to play every day. And the other thing, I think we've had 3 off days the whole year, right? We've had long stretches, 13, 11, 10, in the midst of 16. And all teams are going through that, but it makes it tough, to keep the guys on the field.
If you could give one message to the Philadelphia fan base.
It's going to turn. It's going to turn. These guys are too good, and it's going to turn.
There you go. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hard-hitting questions.
Walter Cronkite, I am not.
He gave you a lot of credit, obviously, for the perfect game. Do you give him a lot?
Yes, he was so good behind home plate, so quick, the quickest signal caller. He just read your body language. He knew what you wanted to throw.
Herrera on the ground to third, and a nice play over there by Eduardo Escobar for the first out.
He also never took anything personally, so that served him well, and that is serving him well as a manager. He knows what comes with the territory. He knows if you underachieve that people are going to start calling for your job. He doesn't care. He doesn't listen to that part of it. Nothing bothers him, and if he could catch me, I was a flake on the mound. I mean, he never took anything personally, Eduardo. He just took it in stride, and that's the way he manages as well.
Tony, where's that jersey right now, that number 36?
That is in the Hall of Fame.
What is that? That's the date you put on. Do you sign everyone the same way?
We do. The inscription became a big thing back then. When David Wells threw his perfect game, and then Don Larson as well, they went to the same high school.
Yep.
Point Loma High School in San Diego. They started inscribing the dates underneath their signatures, and it's kind of become a thing now.
I mean, I love working with you, but do you think the flake thing has stopped, or has it just continued?
I'm holding back. I'm a rookie up here, you know. still feeling my way. Trying to pronounce names right.
I'm wondering if Point Loma High School would give you like a honorary graduate just to make it 3 of them.
Well, people think, you know, after a while, it's almost like people think I was on the '86 Mets because I played for the Mets for so long.
Yep.
I wasn't. I came in 1987, but I just kind of roll with that. I was like, yeah, I was on the '86 Mets, and people think I went to Point Loma at this point too. And I'm like, yeah, me and Don and Boomer, yeah, we San Diego boys. You know, no, not the case.
There's a lot of misperceptions and conceptions about Coney, huh?
After a while, you just, you get tired of correcting people, so you just roll with it.
The '86 Mets were quite a story. Well, sure, I was part of that.
Yeah, I was there.
And by the way, you would have fit in with the '86 Mets.
Well, 1987, I got the feel for it. I really did.
Herrera and now Camargo struck out.
Last 11 outs that man right there on the mound has been able to get. It's either been a strikeout or a ball hit on the ground. The only ball hit in the air came in the first inning off Bryce Harper. That two-seamer's working.
And here's Schwarber, and I got here around 1:30 this afternoon. He was out around 2 o'clock hitting balls the other way off of a tee to start. And then he took batting practice. He was out here alone for a long time in that batter's box because he understands the expectations. To your point, Girardi understands the expectations. We all had a chance to talk to Joe about the conversations in Philadelphia, talk radio, newspaper articles. You lose tonight, you get swept by the Mets. Is this the time where you're going to get called into the office and get let go? And he said all of that's part of this. When you take the manager job, you understand that those conversations are going to happen, especially when you're struggling and the expectations are so high.
Yes, and he does not let it bother him. And that's not just talk either. He really lives that. He believes it.
Well, when you take the manager's job, you actually get hired to get fired. Every man has to be prepared for that.
1-2 just missed. Bassett, you see him bouncing off the mound. He wanted that strikeout.
Seen a lot of that tonight.
Yeah, 4 shakes, 5 shakes, 6.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't get to the 7th option.
You have to take off the spikes and start counting on your toes.
Options come with location as well.
Right.
Big fanning. And it's interesting because Bassett on the mound, he not only is deceiving you with the pitches, but also with his glove. He'll fan it and he'll throw the fastball. He'll fan it, throw the curveball. He'll grip it tight, the glove, and throw the curveball as well, and change it up or throw the two-seamer. So he's doing a lot of things to try to deceive the hitter at the plate.
2-2. That's down. Look, there are people, you tell me, if Bassett's shaking 4 or 5 times, are we ever going to get to a place where he's the one that literally presses the button and says two-seamer? Like, I'm calling my own game.
That's an interesting point, especially if we get a pitch clock next year. That may be a necessity for Chris Bassett.
I'll say Zach Greinke, if that ever happens, will be the first.
3-2 to Schwarber. Straight back.
Tried to get him with the same pitch that he struck him out on the first time, and that was a pitch up in the zone.
You bring up an excellent point about fanning the glove and deking. You see here the pitch. That's where he changes his arm angle on his four-seamer and gets under it in order to ride the ball up into the zone. Very creative on his part. But I did that a lot. I'd fan my glove when I knew I tipped my pitches. I'd try to use that to my advantage.
In there, strike 3. Schwarber is gone. Bassett is rolling. His 6th strikeout of the game. He's gotten the last 7 he has faced. Top of the order coming up for the Mets. We go to the bottom of the 5th on Sunday Night Baseball. Back here at Citi Field, it is Zach Wheeler back on the mound and Luis Guillorme. He swings and fouls the first one off. His walk-up song is Louie, 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 Louie. And then the crowd starts getting into it. You have a favorite walk-up song, Cody, right now?
Yes, I'm hoping Edwin Diaz gets in the game. I mean, that his walk-in song, I think, is one of the best going right now.
I don't think Philly fans are too happy with you right now.
We're just talking songs.
What is the song for people that don't know the song? Do you know the name of it?
I do.
Right now?
Narco.
Narco.
Trumpet. It's got big trumpets blaring when he comes in. Just really an uplifting song. The whole crowd gets into it.
Four punch-outs for Wheeler. 5 last inning, and a rollover here from Guillorme. But if it wasn't for that first inning, Zach Wheeler is killing it right now. First out, retired in the 5th. The ESPN telecast of Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Is brought to you by MLB The Show. 22 rated E for everyone, and Hankook Tire. Evolutionized for EV fitment. Electrified Hankook. You know, you just can't throw an inning out, but if you threw out the first inning, you know, it'd be 1-0. Starling Marte. You can see they have been working Marte in all night long.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the roster construction of the Phillies, and in an environment where offense is down and the baseball's not traveling as far, the best laid plans you can really get tripped up nowadays. What are we dealing with? Yep. Is it the ball that flies or the ball that dies? The environment across the board, offense is down. We're seeing more pitchers duels. So you're right, that first inning, a couple of mistakes. Wheeler settled in. Bassett's throwing well.
1-1 Marte, right field, about face. Castellanos over his head. And Marte to second base, and he is not stopping. The throw over the cutoff man. Starling Marte into third with a triple. Castellanos' throw sailed over the head of Segura, the cutoff man. It would have been an interesting play at third base had he hit him. But instead, it sailed over his head, got to Camargo, and Marte didn't draw a throw.
Well, one common denominator that we're seeing is the opposing outfielder to the hitter. We saw it earlier with Guillorme. Outfielder playing shallow. Here, Castellanos playing in a couple steps from normal depth. And as soon as Marte sees that this ball goes over Castellanos, he's thinking 3. He's not looking at Joey Cora at all. He's his own base running coach. Knowing he can get there, the throw gets overthrown from the cutoff, and he easily makes it to third.
Here's Lindor. Swings at the first one. If he hits the cutoff man, do we have a play at third base?
I think it's too close, that one. I don't think there would still be a play, but the correct play is hit the cutoff on no matter what.
Yeah, we'll never know, right?
Right.
All those little things add up. I believe when you do not have an above average outfield, you should play deep. Keep everything in front of you.
Lindor with the infield all on the grass.
And Joe Girardi mentioned that before in terms of an outfield that has so much square footage like this one does at Citi Field that you can get exposed a little bit more. Even though it was a hard hit ball, line drive right there, you got to hit the cutoff man, as Eduardo's saying. And Segura's in a good place to relay and at least make a throw to third and find out.
Wheeler has to be hunting here for the strikeout. Forget about the ground ball with the infield in and everything. A lot of speed with Marte. Most likely going on contact even with Pete Alonso on deck.
Lindor picked up an RBI in the first. So it's now at 7 games, and he's looking to add another one here. You know, for Marte, I asked Showalter this while we were in that meeting. Is this a fast team or is it a good base running team? You're right. He became his own base runner. He hit second, and that ball was coming in towards Segura. That's their 13th triple. They lead the majors in triples.
Well, this ballpark also helps, especially with the athleticism they have in Nimmo, McNeil, Kana.
I got you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I can't wait till he comes up again. I'm going to apologize and try to pronounce his name right.
Lindor's got it full. Alonso's on deck. 1 man down. Trying to keep it 3-1. Good speed Marte at third. Here it comes.
Tried to go with the same pitch that he struck him out with last time up. That slider down and in.
Hey, Eddie, too, you still look around the outfield, guys. They are very shallow. Trying to get a sac fly, throw him out.
Especially in today's game where we've seen already via the numbers that the center fielders especially have been playing deeper in the last 5 years.
Good job, Wheeler. Lindor strikes out. Strikeout 6 for Zach Wheeler. 1 out away from getting out of this, and here comes Alonso.
This is where the extension pays off right here. The four-seamer reaching out. Ball just jumps on Lindor.
Okay, so it's going to be interesting at bat here with Pete Alonso as you see the conversation on the mound with Wheeler. But most importantly is what Pete Alonso told us earlier when he was mic'd up. He understands right now what's going through his mind. What's the situation? First base is open. There are bases open. Will they pitch to him, or will they go to the switch hitting Eduardo Escobar, who's on deck? Pete Alonso, 18 runs driven in with 2 outs so far this season. Only Paul Goldschmidt has more in 19.
Yeah, they're going to send Alonso to first base. He doesn't even get into the batter's box. Intentional walk.
Interesting. A lot of managers would opt in this situation to give the intentional, unintentional walk, pitch around him just not to wake up the hitter on deck. They're not going to risk it. They don't want to add pitches to Zach Wheeler. They'd rather just put the 4 fingers up. And if you wake up Eduardo Escobar, so be it.
Well, you trade Alonso, who's got good numbers against Wheeler, for Escobar, who you saw doesn't necessarily have the good numbers. Different type hitters, and he's behind 0-1.
Wheeler breaking out his curveball a little more often now. Good first pitch curve there to get a swing and miss.
Didn't Pete say he has, what, 6 stolen bases in his career? First one against Real Muto?
First one was against Real Muto, 3 last year.
I would do a fake steal right here. Just take a couple steps to see if the infielders move from their positioning, especially with elite speed at third base and Starling Marte, just to see what JT Realmuto would do. Does he come up? Does he hold it or not?
1 stolen base for Alonso this year. 0-1 to Escobar. Not going, and this one a swing and a miss. A lot of movement on that 92-mile-an-hour slider. Zach Wheeler trying to bear down and get through the 5th inning after a 1-out triple from Starling Marte.
Try to steal a run right here.
Escobar's got 2 homers on off-speed pitches this year. He had 3 such last year. Does Wheeler go with 0-2? Nearly hit him.
That's a great job by Escobar. He almost got kneecapped right here. Get out of the way.
Does that set up the pitch down and away?
The problem is that when he goes away, it's just hard.
Alonso was on his way, and the ball fouled off at the plate.
And we talked about Wheeler's approach to left-handed batters. He doesn't really throw changeups. So there's nothing soft fading away that he has in his repertoire. Everything's going to be in. Fastballs, four-seamers, cutters, and curveballs on the back foot. He could go up the ladder.
Yep. For
a strikeout now in a 1-2 count. More of a K-ball count than a ground ball double play count.
1-2. Alonso not going this time. Swing and a miss. He got him to chase up. The fastball at 95. Good job, Zach Wheeler. 7th punch out.
Right on up the ladder.
Chris Bassett back on the bump. He's gotten his last 7 in a row. 5 innings for each. 4 hits, 2 hits, just the earned run. There's an error charged to Rhys Hoskins, which allowed the Mets to get all 3 in the first inning. Pitch count fairly similar, as our game track was brought to you by Geico. Back with Eduardo Perez, David Cohn, Carl Ravitch. Sunday night here, next week in Chicago for the Cubs and the Cardinals. Talk about MVP candidates with Alonso and Harper. How about Paul Goldschmidt and what he's doing? Yikes.
Turned it on in the month of May. What's interesting is what the Cardinals players have done the last 3 months of the seasons.
Beaten into the ground. Boom. Lindor. Easy play.
It was last September that it was O'Neill who won Player of the Month in the National League. In April, it was Nolan Arenado who won it, St. Louis Cardinal, and now it most likely could be Paul Goldschmidt. Mookie Betts maybe has something to say about that.
Yep.
Gold all over the field in St. Louis.
And platinum.
They got shut down today by Corbin Burns. The final today was 8-0 in favor of the Brewers. That is a team to be reckoned with. Milwaukee been outstanding. Notice the boos kind of mellowed a little bit here for her. Not as boisterous as early on. Had a good crowd on hand here on a Sunday night.
There's a Reggie Jackson line there somewhere, right? They don't boo nobodies.
Machado's been ridiculous. You know, a lot of these teams are getting guys back. The Padres obviously with Tatis. Kershaw comes back. Freddie Freeman, we'll see him on Sunday Night Baseball in a couple of weeks as the Dodgers go to Atlanta end of June, middle of that College World Series run.
Out of all those guys on the list for the candidates for MVP, I think it's going to be really difficult for Bryce Harper just because he's going to be DH in the majority of the season.
One thing Bassett has done so well tonight is he's going to throw his 92nd pitch here to Bryce Harper coming up. Is called strikes with all of his pitches. It's kind of a hard thing to do. Every pitch he features has been called for a strike.
How important is that statistic? 90 or more pitches in all 10 of his starts. The next closest doesn't have more than 5 of those starts.
It's a workhorse and maybe one of the most underrated pitchers in the game today is Chris Bassett. His track record suggests that.
6 punch-outs he has. Harper flew out to center and he walked. Chase there. Bassett, another strikeout. 94 and away.
You know, when you think about his sinker, he's got his good one tonight. I mean, there's velocity and tremendous movement on it. Not so much about the RPMs. It's about the spin axis. So you get more sink, more vertical movement, and horizontal, both above average. Talk about two-plane breaks on breaking balls. He's got a two-plane sinker working tonight.
All right, Eddie, you bring in Schwarber and you bring in Castellanos, and now it's 75 at bats without a homer for a guy that killed it last year. What do you see with Castellanos' swing?
Right now, it just seems like he's not comfortable at all at the plate. He's not driving the ball really well to right center field. Castellanos is going well. He reminds you a lot of who J.D. Martinez is at the plate.
Yep.
Mentored him in Detroit, both from South Florida. The swing, very much alike. And when J.D. Martinez is going well, he stays left center to right center. Nick Castellanos has been rolling over a lot and swinging and missing plenty.
He's also getting more breaking balls than he ever has before.
There's one there, and he stays alive. Bassett thought he had another punch out.
He's always been a great fastball hitter in his career, really. 2013 through 2021, he got 55% fastballs, 33% breaking balls, and that's reversed. He's getting more breaking balls now, 45%, and less fastballs than breaking balls now.
This one off the end of the bat and into foul territory, and no play for Dominic Smith. Remember offseason, Castellanos thought he was likely going to be a Florida Marlin. And of course Jeter then stepped down, and Jeter was the one who said we had a little different vision for the future of the franchise. So no home in Miami for Castellanos. Instead, he's a Philadelphia Philly, got 5 years and $100 million. But imagine that kind of lane shift for somebody that was already 1 foot in South Beach. It takes a little getting used to. And he got to Philadelphia and pointed out that he's hit a lot of home runs. He's done a lot of individual things, but his team hasn't provided him with that postseason World Series experience. 0-2 and a slow one that's foul.
And just like Harper, he is committed to living in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Will make his offseason home there as well.
A busy week for Dave Dombrowski when he picked up Brad Hand, Familia, Schwarber, and Castellanos. You think Buck knows that Mr. and Mrs. Met are right over his shoulder? Because he picks up on everything. You think he's aware that they are that close? Yeah, you guys both.
I believe he knows what and when Mr. and Mrs. Met, where they're going to be in the game, depending on the innings and the score.
Castellanos, good hop for Lindor. Chris Bassett through 6 innings and really, really solid. He's gotten 10 in a row. It's 3-1, bottom 6 coming up at Citi Field.
Yeah, you guys got the nice little floaty box over the plate. Yeah, down here the strike zone's just a theory. Got really fortunate with my Harry Potter wand placement of that ball over the.
Yes.
We got one of my favorite teammates here. Jeff McNeil wants to say hello to everybody.
Watching Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, he's been watching. Yeah, that's his new hit / home run celebration. Living the dream every day.
Living the dream.
Viviendo el sueño.
Great stuff from Pete Alonso earlier this evening, wearing the microphone and had the earpiece in. We appreciate Pete doing that, the designated hitter for the Mets tonight, as they look for win number 32 against 17 losses, lead the division by 8 games. They lead the division by 8. You're going to get DeGrom and Scherzer back. You know, the Braves, most people believe, are going to get better. Is this a different year, though, for the Mets than last year? I mean, is there sustainability, staying power, depth? Feels that way, doesn't it?
There's certainly a buzz in the crowd here. I know the fan base feels that way. A lot of excitement about the Mets. Something's going on, and the fan base has picked up on it. Combination of new ownership now settling in, new leadership with Buck Showalter.
Mets are set after a series with the Nationals to go back out west. The schedule maker is a little cruel to the Mets. They're going back out, and they have series with, talk about a litmus test, the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Angels. Learn a little bit about yourself. Largest lead on Memorial Day in franchise history. 0-2 from Wheeler. And a jam shot, boom. Pretty solid over there at third base after a bumpy start. Canna is retired. Time for our Memorial Day tribute. It's brought to you by USAA. So here are some of the milestones. Willie Mays hit his first career home run, came off the great Warren Spahn back in 1951. Dale Long in 56 hit a home run in the 8th straight game, which was a record. The Eck threw a no-hitter against the Angels in 1977. And the great Michael Jack Schmidt retired in 1989. Memorial Day tribute brought to you by USAA.
Yes, Dennis Eckersley was a starting pitcher for Cleveland. In case you didn't know. Hall of Famer is a great reliever.
And now one of the broadcasters for the Boston Red Sox. Eck speaks his own language. That's a hit by pitch there on Dominic Smith. Got him on the inside. We've been throwing Dom inside, so he looks down to that left arm.
When you look at it, this is a well-executed pitch, and it's a pitch that Dom knows he should have not been hit with. Getting hard in, but not to even move the feet. He's diving out over the plate, starting too soon, and because of it, left his elbow exposed. And he's lucky that that was just a nick.
Yeah, just a little skid mark.
Brad Hand is warming in the Philadelphia bullpen. We've seen Drew Smith get up for the New York Mets. This was a significant date in baseball history for a former Philadelphia Philly, Roy Halladay, as well. Back in May of 2010. 1 ball, no strikes on the way. Plummer rolls one over. Tough play. Hoskins will get the out. Tough scoop, but he made the play. And then he fired over to Camargo to pick up the force out. All right, Coney, remember this? Roy Halladay against the Marlins. He struck out 11 in this game, which is the most that he struck out that year. The Phillies managed to win it 1-0.
If you think about the style of that man right there, he kind of was the first one to get away from fastballs and throw all cutters. Everything he threw moved. He was a real trailblazer, stylistically speaking, and a great pitcher.
Died tragically in a single plane accident. Juan Castro made a couple of really good defensive plays in that game, including the one that we showed. And his ball moved all over the place. He reminded me, I mean, in a lot of ways, he was like a taller you. I just look, both you guys, because he was all over the place. He had a big body turn when he threw the ball. Arms were going everywhere. Really good guy, too, to talk baseball with. He loved pitching. He loved the sport. Up in the air off the bat. Above Mazeka. Schwarber there. And Wheeler able to get through the 6th inning. Keeps his team in it. Mets got a 3-1 lead. Segura, Hoskins, Realmuto coming up when we come back. Tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central on ESPN Plus. We'll have the first game of a 4-game series between the Royals and the Guardians. You get Bobby Witt Jr., you get the Guardians. And next Sunday night, Cards and Cubs on ESPN, available on ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio. We'll start at 6 Eastern. Baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. And that's a fair ball. Heading over is Drew Smith, but that's going to be taken by Dominic Smith, new pitcher into the game for the Mets. We'll talk about Drew Smith in a moment, but let's go over the guy that he replaced, Chris Bassett.
Well, I thought he really had his A game, and his A game is that sinker. The velocity was up and the movement was crazy. Had tremendous command of it. Look at that movement. And let's look at the profile. 94.3 miles an hour on that sinker, and you see the axis of the spin. 9 inches more sink than average on the vertical side, and on the horizontal side, 3 more inches than average. We talk about 2-plane sinker. Boy, he had it all working tonight.
He retired the last 10, and with all those sinkers, they were beating the ball into the ground. He had 10 ground ball outs. So here's Drew Smith, 19 games, good numbers out of the bullpen. Hey! He gave up a 3-run shot to Jock Peterson in the 8th on May 24th. But he started the season with over 13 innings, 13 1/3 of scoreless innings. I forget what the word Buck used, but it was, what did he say? He's an interesting guy out of the pen. He used some word that you generally wouldn't associate with a pitcher. Something along the lines of, he's an interesting guy to have out of that bullpen.
Well, everything moves. And as a hitter, you're just looking right now at the swings. That's what you want to see, the feet dancing on the swings. Off balance.
0-2 to Hoskins. He misses down.
You know, well above average strikeout rate. A nice guy to have to come in and miss some bats when you need it.
That's bullpen yesterday, 4 innings, no runs, and Colin Holderman has been a revelation too out of the bullpen. A couple innings yesterday, no runs. He's not given up a run in 8 innings. Two balls, 2 strikes. Strike 3. Rhys Hoskins did not know what was coming.
How about Hoskins right after that? Again, here comes the pitch, but it's not so much the pitch. It's Hoskins right after. It's nasty. He buckles. No chance right there to pull the trigger, but might as well just give it a swing.
Yeah. Is that caught looking or a swinging strikeout?
Depends. If you have a delay on your screen, I'm wondering if he's watching the program.
That's an admission of guilt.
Exactly right. Hand was in the cookie jar. I'm done. Strike 1 to Real Muto as he throws a curveball in at 78. And unfortunately for Rhys Hoskins, he continues a trend. He's got the most called strikeouts in baseball. So maybe trying to avoid a called strike. I'm going to swing at him.
It's the toughest part about baseball. You don't get to get down the court and make another shot. You got to wait. You just gotta eat it and live with it. Hope you get another at bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Real Muto, 97.
This is Roundup for Lawns. This stuff works. This stuff kills weeds down to the root without killing your lawn. This stuff works on dandelions, crabgrass, clover. This stuff works for up to 3 months. This stuff works guaranteed or your money back. This is Roundup for Lawns. This stuff works.
Saw Smith attempt to grab that with his bare hand, and it deflected off of his hand. We've seen a bunch of guys on the mound do that and end up with an injury. He's waving everybody off, saying, I'm fine.
Yeah, and how about that right there? That's the 3rd hit this season he's given up when a hitter has 2 strikes. JT Realmuto thankful that he put his hand in there because Guillorme would have had that one easy. Watch Guillorme in the top of your screen. Instead, base hit.
It's just instincts. You're on the mound. I've been there. I've done that. So why did you do that? Why do you put your bare hand up? Because you just react. It happened so quickly. Now they're going to check him out just to make sure, because it was your pitching hand. He's not happy about it.
No, he's not, because he was pitching well. To Eduardo's point, they had an out. Trainers are out there. Buck Showalter going out there.
See a lot of dislocated fingers when that happens. Not only the velo, but the spin of the ball. It's done.
Yep, Drew Smith's going to come out of that game after reaching back to try to knock down a baseball, and he is upset with himself.
This is not something you practice. You know, let's get the coach out before the game and fire fungos at me and practice not doing this.
Oh, the pinky.
Yep, the pinky.
Aye.
It's so tempting. You see it. It's right there. He falls off the mound a bit, so obviously he found himself in that position. The only thing he could do was throw his bare hand up if he wanted to get it. You can see that looks like a dislocation. That pinky is pointing the wrong way.
That ball was, Eddie, 94 miles an hour off the bat, which, you know, we've seen 110 miles, but that's 94 miles an hour. Baseball coming at you with topspin.
Well, definitely they'll reset that one and take some x-rays and find out.
Self-inflicted wound that Drew Smith is not happy about. So we're going to see a pitching change. We'll come back. Joely Rodriguez warming up. Tough look right there for Drew Smith of the Mets. Welcome back, everyone. There are high hopes for both these teams. The hopes took a hit here when Drew Smith, he's been really good. Got a couple of outs, then gave up a ground ball back up the middle that he reached for, and that pinky on that right hand is unfortunately bending in the direction it shouldn't be. So Joely Rodriguez is going to come in, which led us to look at our hands. And I look at my hand, Eddie, and it looks, you know, fairly like the pinkies are going in the right direction.
Same here.
And yours too. And then we looked at yours, and we got something like, what is that? What happened there?
The last Met pitcher to have a dislocated finger sitting in the booth tonight.
That's why we have you here, so you can relate to what's going on.
Hope he gets a better doctor than the one I got.
What'd they fix that with? Popsicle sticks? I mean, what happened here?
I didn't wear my splint. They told me to wear a splint. I said, nah, I don't want to wear it. Mine was on a hit batter. Atlee Hammaker of the San Francisco Giants back in 1987. Drilled me in the hand. The knob of the bat was on one side, the baseball was on the other. So it turned my pinky into a walnut.
So did it help you throw it all?
The next year I came back, won 20 games.
But they didn't, a lot of people were upset about that year, not the next year.
Yeah. 87, I was like, okay, fringy, rookie pitcher. The next year I came back and that pinky made me sit off center of the ball. It just naturally, and my ball started jumping and moving like Three-Finger Brown back in the day. So
Three-Finger Brown.
So yeah.
So you were holding the bat. I mean, that must have absolutely killed.
Excruciating pain. It wasn't a dislocation like we just saw. Mine was a shatter. My pinky was shattered.
So a dislocation, because it occurs now to me that you've literally had every injury you possibly could have. Dislocation, Eduardo suggests, you know, he may not miss a spot, may not miss his next appearance. You kind of were like, we'll see.
We'll see, because you generate so much arm speed in your hand, and your fingers are the last thing to touch the ball. Even though your pinky's not involved, the reverberation you still feel through your whole hand when you rip a slider or a four-seamer off your fingertips. So it remains to be seen. He may need some time.
So Joely Rodriguez, the former Yankee, now Met into the game. He's obviously the second Met pitcher of the inning. Smith got Segura on a ground out to first. He struck out Hoskins. And now Real Muto's at first, amongst the fastest catchers in baseball with 3 stolen bases. And Herrera, the first batter, swings at the first pitch he sees. And Joely Rodriguez couldn't have done it any better. 1 pitch, 1 out. Bottom 7 coming up. gets his hand checked. And having just seen David Cohn's finger, we will dive further into the best things that we've seen. 20-game winner with a crooked pinky. Regular season is underway. Anything can happen. Follow @MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube so you don't miss a thing in 2022. Social media is a plethora of great baseball content, which brings us to the best things that we saw this week.
Yeah, well, mine I thought was really cool when Beckham Trout, Mike Trout's son, is actually pitching to his father yesterday morning, and his dad's like, time to get a little BP. Take a listen, folks.
Come on, dude. You got, we got to work on Daddy's swing. Not a lot of hits lately, okay, bud? Let's go. Get in them legs, throw me that pitch. Throw. Woo! Let's go, son. Homer.
Daddy wanna bathe it.
Yeah, Daddy's jogging.
Now Beckham do it.
Now Beckham do it?
That's right. And oh, by the way, he went 3 for 4 yesterday with a home run, his 13th of the season.
Here we go, son.
Run the bases, Daddy.
Brad Hand now in for the Phillies. Wheeler out in the first pitch. He throws strike one to Luis Guillorme. Top of the order for the Mets. Guillorme, Marte, Lindor leading 3-1. Bottom of the 7th inning. We'll get to David Cohn's best thing he saw this week. Pitch Friday night here against the Mets in the 8th inning. It was a scoreless outing for Brad Hand, his 19th appearance of the year, which is tied first on the Philly staff with Corey Knebel. And a hit 0-2. They play Guillorme straight up. Luis doubled to start things off in the top of the first over the head of Schwarber. It was part of a 3-run first inning. He been shut down since. One ball, 2 strikes. Marte coming up. Was yours off of social media? Is that where you?
Yes, I think we've got a youngster theme here. Mine's a little leaguer too. So, a holiday weekend.
Fouled at the plate. All right, what do you got, Coney?
Little League Baseball going to kick in full swing here as we head to summer. And how about this walk-up song and this dance? T-ball. Look at him. This kid's got to work, and everybody's going, what in the world? And then race.
Not swinging until you put that ball on the tee.
I thought that was after he'd gotten the hit. That was before he got the hit.
The walk-up dance.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Just getting loose.
Just getting loose. Yeah, I'll get to mine, which again is all about little kids playing baseball. Trying to grow the sport. Hand to Guillorme, 1-2, fouled off. Just tremendous video of this guy, this little boy rounding third base. And there he is doing somersaults on the way home. A lot of good elements here. The umpire's in the foreground. People are screaming, get up and run. The ball from the defenders goes up against the wall. Like they can't get this guy out. And now they pick the ball up and he steps and runs over.
With the helmet on, that's outstanding.
You talk about timing. Like he knew I got somersault time here. And when they get the ball and I'm in danger of getting tagged out, I'll find my feet. Don't you worry.
In a day and age when we see little league parents or the bad actors, so to speak, at times, and the kids are leading the way.
Perspective.
You know, it's all about fun.
And there was somebody screaming, get up, run, 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 Forrest. Guillorme blooper, that's dropping. Right off the end of the bat and another hit. Boy, the Mets are going to stay up 3-1, and the number of guys that have hit the ball about 75 miles an hour or less and found grass. 71 off the bat of Guillorme. He did a good job hanging around during the best thing we saw. He fouled off 4 pitches.
He did against Brad Hand, that this year feels a lot better than he did last season. And has been throwing the slider more consistently. Better bite.
One of the toughest guys in the majors to double up right here. Marte already with a triple tonight. And with the Indians for a long time, as the former Met Luis Familia warms in that Phillies pen behind Hand. What was it like when you faced former teams?
It could get into your head a little bit.
Really?
Because they knew you so well.
0-1 right center. Herrera lays out, makes the play. Good job, Odubel Herrera, and diving back into first is Guillorme. Good jump by Herrera that time. Takes away a hit from Marte.
Get a beat on it. It's exactly what he was able to do. And, you know, we've knocked a lot of the defense of the Phillies, and this is a positive right here. Stays down low, makes sure he sees at eye level, is able to dive and make an out. Especially with Marte hitting that one. That could have been a second triple if that would have got him by him.
I noticed his mouth was closed.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Eduardo insists that the way to catch a baseball in the outfield is most of the good ones will have their mouth open when they catch the ball. I'm pretty certain that Odubel had his mouth closed.
No real eye wash there. I mean, he needed to dive.
Yes,
sometimes we see outfielders dive when they don't need to and throw a little eye wash on it. No eye wash there.
Back in the day, Chucky Carr, remember him?
Swing and a miss from Lindor. Good slider. All right, Eddie, you take a look at the mouth of Herrera.
Yeah, going down, bracing for impact, mouth closed. We need to work on that early work tomorrow.
Yeah. They have an early game. They're a 4 o'clock start at home against the Giants.
University of Tampa beat Southeastern Nova actually on a sac fly that would have won the game for Southeast Nova and their conference. What happened was fly ball center field, they used the KK play, the Kevin Kiermaier play. He works out with the University of Tampa during the offseason. He said, when you're going to catch a fly ball and you know that's late in the game, just let it go further down. Act like you're going to catch it up. Most of the time, the runner at third.
Hoskins just taller than Real Muto, and he made the play and nearly doubled off at first was Guillorme.
The runner at third would tag up as soon as contact was made with the glove. Instead, they replayed it. The center fielder actually caught the ball down low, and the runner took off early, and then they ended up winning an extra innings. And all because of the Kevin Kiermaier play.
Again, Eddie, this is a communication thing. Like, that was nearly another ball that wasn't going to be an out. Hands coming out of the game.
And that was all first baseman right there. Rhys Hoskins has to call it. We never saw him call it.
Luis Familia's coming into the game. Knows the Mets well. We'll see if this gets into his head the way that former teams got into the head of Coney. Suit up this summer, MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Outfit the whole family with your favorite team's gear at MLBshop.com. A lot of good going on in Metland. 31-17, leading the Braves by 8, looking to go to 8.5. And the former Met, Luis Familia, ERA of 4.32, strikeout rate of 22, right on the Major League Baseball average. His walk rate a little higher, 16 2/3. Matching up against Pete Alonso. Yorme reached on a single, and then a Starling Marte line drive to center that Herrera caught, and Lindor popped out to Hoskins in foul ground. Big run from Familia, but that 95 misses, and he's behind 2-0. He hasn't met a fastball he doesn't like.
He told us his approach all night long. Lay off of the stuff down and away. Get a baseball over the white part of the plate and let it go.
There's wicked movement on his sinker, man.
It's never been a question for Familia. Tremendous movement and stuff, but for Alonso, it's really at the top of the zone.
You see it right there. He's been able to eliminate those swings and misses. He's been focusing more middle down, and it's been working for him. Hard contact for Pete Alonso. If you want to get in, want him to miss, it has to be hard in.
On the ground to third, Bohm to second, and that is the third out of the inning. Familia's had success against the Mets. 4 innings, he is not allowed a hit. He gets the one batter he faces in Alonso. 8th inning coming up at City. 9, 1 and 2 due up. A lot going on in this city. The Yankees, the Mets, how about the Rangers? We got ourselves a Game 7 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be at PNC Arena, 8 Eastern time on ESPN and the app. The home team, and PNC is important here, has won each game in this series. The Rangers, though, are 4-0 and facing elimination. It's a Game 7, and the Hurricanes have won 6 straight. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Game 7. Live in a city where the sports teams, the seasons overlap and they're successful. But you go one night baseball, one night hockey, one night basketball. $10 o'clock in the East, and the Mets got a 3-1 lead. The Miami Heat and Boston Celtics have gone to the half, with the Celtics leading 55-49. It's down to a 6-point game, and that game over on ESPN. The Celtics had a lead of upwards of 15 points in the first half, but it's gotten tight. 55-49. Winner of that game to the NBA Finals against the Warriors.
On June 2nd.
On June 2. 2-1 pitch, now 3-1.
Lou Gehrig's day.
I was thinking on the Rangers about Rod Gilbert, who passed away. You know, and the Rangers, thinking about a rallying cry. Think about Rod, one of the greatest players in franchise history.
And they've had a few great players in franchise history, and tonight they're anticipating tomorrow night's Game 7. All right, so the Phillies now get the leadoff man in the 8th against Joely Rodriguez. And it's Kyle Schwarber, and these are the home runs that Schwarber has hit, 16 of them in his career against the Mets. Left on left, he's hit several the other way, 4 of them. And again, out early today, working, hitting balls off the tee. So he's on one list with Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, and now you go usual Frank Howard. Schwarber's on that list. Inside pitch, called strike on a swing.
Such an important at-bat right now for Joely Rodriguez. Why? Because if he walks him, it'll force Buck Showalter to most likely bring in, if it's Diaz, who must be and should be warming up in the pen.
That's outside. Schwarber checked his first swing, but not well enough. And it could be 2-0, but it's 1-1. Bohm, Harper to bat. And Bohm's had a chance tonight. Rounded into a 6-3 double play. 4-6-3 double play in the third inning. Schwarber, slow roller. Smith. Runner out at second, fair ball, and Dominic just kind of held it there. Now he throws to first for the out. Not a bad idea by Schwarber just to wait. What do I got to lose? I'm just going to wait here. If he's not going to do anything, we'll see what happens.
I think everybody's keyed in on that play since Javier Baez
exactly
last year in
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
That play, and you think you've seen it all until you see something you haven't.
We've talked a lot about the youth Little League baseball, even pre-Little League. College baseball. See that Pac-12 semifinal game yesterday. In fact, 2 games. Oregon State and UCLA. The old 9-run 9th inning forces extra innings. The 9 runs in the 9th tied the game at 21-all. And then Oregon State went up, right, 22-21, and then UCLA won it on a 3-run homer walk-off. And then they had to play again. After playing that, they had to play again that night. Oregon State then walked them off. So on ESPN News right now, the Pac-12 championship between Oregon State and Stanford. And it will be on our air next here on ESPN2 as soon as we are done. But they are underway. Bohm. That's outside. It's a ball. Runner on second. Bohm's the tying run at the plate. Alec Bohm, 3 homers, 17 runs batted in. Dealt with the I don't want to be here, I hate it here in Philadelphia after his defensive miscues and the crowd getting on him. And boy, did he endear himself when he came out and said, yep, I'll wear it. I said it. Come up with some big hits. His defense has improved. Eddie, it's Ottavino that's currently warming up in that Mets pen.
He would be for Castellanos, not Harper.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Camargo off second. Here it comes. That's way inside. Full count, 3-2. Drew Smith started the 7th inning out of the bullpen. He got a ground ball to first, then a strikeout, and then JT Realmuto hit one back up the middle. Smith went to grab it, and it appeared as if he dislocated his pinky on his pitching hand. He had to come out of the game, which brought Joely in, and now he pitches again here. And a 3-2 didn't get the call, didn't miss by much, but it's a walk. And 2 are aboard. 1 down.
And that's too close to take right there. And as a hitter, you are praying that if you did not swing, the home plate umpire did not get this one right. And you see the way that it was received behind the plate by Mazeka. Looked like he got it out of the zone, and it was an easier call to make.
A couple of things going on the chair, and the way that Bohm took it too, like he thought it was, really inside. He sets the bat down right away. Not only framing, but how the hitter takes a pitch affects the call sometimes.
Well, Lindor and the rest of the players gathered first. And then that sent the pitching coach out to the mound for a few words about dealing with Bryce Harper.
And we get more questions about the future of the game and whether the automated strike zone is going to be part of the future, and so many different answers. But by and large, I think the hitters would like it. We asked Buck Showalter that question before the game, and he said he kind of wavers on it. Maybe a challenge type system. And he's been on the competition committee too. So he's kind of plugged in on that issue. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Hefner had his conversation with to lefty Rodriguez. Biggest spot in this game, 3-1, 2 on for Harper. With 1 down in the 8th. Outside fastball 93, strike 1. Marte fairly shallow in right field. Tons of room into the corner. Infield in a shift. And good speed on the bases with Bohm at first and Camargo at second. Harper left field going back. Plummer stops there. And he makes the play. And fires it back in. Bryce Harper retired on a fly ball to left. And the crowd here knows how important an out that was. Here comes Buck Showalter to get his pitcher.
Well, Bryce Harper got a pitch he could handle. Pitch was 93 on the inside part of the plate. See him get behind. It just got a little too deep on him. And wasn't able to get enough power behind it as it fell short of the warning track.
Tough spot for Joely Rodriguez. Had to come into a game after an injury to Drew Smith. And he got Harper. Big out. Here comes Ottavino as he gets set for a big at-bat against Castellanos. Adam Ottavino onto the mound. There are his numbers. And he'll get Nick Castellanos 1 for 7 in his career against Ottavino with 1 strikeout. And boy, would this be a great time for the Phillies and Castellanos to break out of this homer slump, and that is unhittable. You're going to swing at that, you have 0 chance. Take a look at the bullpen stress. Adam Ottavino, 20 yesterday. And obviously, Edwin Diaz did not pitch yesterday. High leverage situation. A lot of folks would think this is the time for your closer. Ahead 0-2 with a 4-seam fastball.
Yeah, Castellanos sitting slider. And Ottavino trusted the ability to throw the fastball right there that Castellanos was sitting on.
Classic in between. Swing at the ball, take the strike.
Left field hit well. Plummer going back, looking up. It's gone! Castellanos, a 3-run home run off Ottavino with 2 strikes. And the Phillies are on top. And after going 76 at bats without a homer, Nick delivers his 6th of the season.
A lot of things going here. One, Adam Ottavino came in throwing strikes, so he throws that slider right where he wanted it, got the chase, threw the fastball while Castellanos was sitting slider. But you said it earlier, Coney, this is a dead red fastball hitter. He's been getting a lot of breaking pitches. He's going to live and die by what he lives with, and that's the fastball. Beautiful swing. Ball leaves the yard, and now the Phillies are up, and your best leverage pitcher, Edwin Diaz, is still in the bullpen. Hasn't gotten up yet. Adam Ottavino threw 20 pitches yesterday. Was very effective. Has been effective for his last 5 outings. Edwin Diaz has been effective as well.
It's a valid point. For Adam Ottavino, you cannot get beat with your fastball in this spot. You're in there for 1 hitter. You're up 0-2. You cannot let that happen.
Outsmarted himself.
The first pitch slider was a foot off the plate, and he swung and missed at it badly. And then a fastball, then a fastball. This one's back up the middle. That's going to get through. And now the crowd shows its displeasure with boos. That is a huge, huge hit for the Phillies, who desperately needed something good to happen.
That's why you see a lot of organizations go to high leverage moments and not just that closer mentality of you have to throw the 9th inning. Win the inning. That's important when you have those A-list hitters up. And this was a situation, especially with the go-ahead run at the plate. What a big home run for Nick Castellanos, by the way.
Huge. Only the second home run allowed by Ottavino all season. The other was against Kyle Schwarber. Here's the pitch sequence.
Well, the first pitch is perfect. Castellanos thinking dead ready, never gets off the fastball, but he did there and doubled up on an 0-2 pitch. Boy, you just cannot get beat with that pitch there.
Runner goes, throw down to second. Safe at second base. In a scoring position goes Gene Segura.
And if you're going to throw the number one, it has to be out of the strike zone up. It cannot catch any of the quadrants of that rectangle.
Castellanos has a .624 slugging average, the 8th highest since 2019 through tonight's game. Crushes fastballs.
It's just so rare you throw an 0-2 pitch right there. I mean, like Eddie said, fastball, generally they're out of the zone or it's a non-competitive pitch. I mean, that first pitch slider was a non-competitive pitch. He swung at it.
Ottavino's got one of the best sliders in the game.
And that'll make you toss and turn at night.
The thing that came back to haunt the Mets here, the walks to Bohm and to Camargo.
And these are the games that you look back on the calendar and say, wow, we missed on this one. Let's not forget one thing. The Phillies have a very easy schedule in September.
Yeah,
they know.
That's a story. Conversely, the Phillies have a chance to avoid a sweep, a lost weekend here on Sunday night. A huge hit by a very important piece.
Mets still have 6 cracks at it. I mean, we're in the top of the 8th. They'll go with Escobar, Canna, and Smith in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Ottavino wants to get out of this now. 2-2. Runner goes. Missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Close pitch. But Ottavino didn't get the call. So Segura now 90 feet away. And the payoff pitch. Center field should be playable for Canna. He's there to make the play, but Ottavino off the mound and cascaded by boos here at Citi Field. It had all been going well for the Mets until Nick Castellanos exits stage left. First homer after not hitting one for 76 at bats. Four-3, Phillies on top. 3 runs on that Castellanos go-ahead home run. Came off Ottavino's fastball, and now Seranthony Dominguez is on for the Phillies. As Eduardo said, take a look at the win probability. Philadelphia Phillies now have a 63% chance to win after hovering in the Mets area, where they had about a 92% chance to win.
It's over a 50% jump in win probability with 1 swing of the bat.
So Dominguez, who's been really good lately, throws one that bounces off Realmuto and gets away. Dominguez out of the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. He pitched last night in the 8th inning, got the out. First appearance since last Sunday against the Dodgers, but since the 22nd of April, he is giving you 12 scoreless outings over his last 13 appearances. And that's one of the reasons why. How about the movement on that? 2-seamer at 98 miles an hour and up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Escobar, Canna, Dom Smith scheduled to bat. Whew. 98 and Bayou.
This is Roundup for Lawns. This stuff works. This stuff kills weeds down to the root without killing your lawn. This stuff works on dandelions, crabgrass, clover. This stuff works for up to 3 months. This stuff works guaranteed or your money back. This is Roundup for Lawns. This stuff works.
We talked a lot about lineup construction, roster construction. Let's give Wheeler credit. After giving up the 3 in the first, he held him there. And it was one of the Dave Dombrowski acquisitions that hit the ball over the wall. The recipe is as scripted as you'd like to say. 4-3, thanks to a good start and a homer for a guy we paid $100 million for. Now the question is, can this bullpen hold it? Phillies are the worst team in one-run games in baseball this year.
It's a great point. A real professional effort from Zach Wheeler. It's all they got. 3 in the first.
It's important that Dominguez is efficient this inning. 1, 2, 3 would be perfect for Joe Girardi, just to make sure that Lindor or even Pete Alonso do not come up the next inning.
Yeah. In the order, it's Escobar, Canna, and then Smith. 5, 6, 7. A lot of play, and he's relying on that fastball. It's got some movement on it. 97. People watching the game too, those Mets fans. Seth Lugo, we showed you the stress innings. He pitched the last couple of days. As Buck told us, not available. Drew Smith, the update on him was dislocation of the finger. X-rays negative for a break and listed day-to-day. On the ground, hard hit. Glove, Camargo. Up, got him! What a play by Camargo. So the defense, which has been criticized, comes up with a couple of good plays. Herrera in center, and now Camargo at short.
Absolutely right. They started off the game not too good on the defensive side, and Johan Camargo gets up quickly after making a play to his left, throws a strike over to Rhys Hoskins. Nothing better than a first baseman getting there, turning around, and seeing that shortstop throw it right at your chest.
Great play from Camargo. 2 down. Here's Smith.
Great reaction, too.
Great reaction, and strike 1.
Well, if you look back at the top half of the 8th inning, the inning started with the 5-pitch walk to Johan Camargo, and he gave pretty much the same reaction back to his bench. A lot of game left. Ends up scoring that second run on the home run.
It was almost 98 miles an hour off of Canna's bat. At a 5.10 expected batting average, so that is a sterling play from Camargo.
Smith hit that hard, but the shift on and then shallow right. Alec Boehm is there. That inning worked out really well for the Phillies. A great play by Camargo. A 1-2-3 inning to perhaps prevent the big bats from coming up in the 9th. It's 4-3. We head there now. All right, one more look at Nick Castellanos' big 3-run home run swing. 21-degree launch angle, an exit velocity of 106, traveled 381 feet, and that is a hard hit ball and a barrel zone ball. It's the first 0-2 homer that Ottavino's ever allowed. Castellanos a very good 2-strike hitter, but boy, that first slider was tempting to go back to, and they never did. And now Steven Nagosic is on for the New York Mets. Overhand fires a fastball in there, 93 miles an hour to get ahead. 0-1. So the Mets in their 9th will have 8, 9, and then the top of the order. 1 ball, 1 strike. And for a big crowd, man, this place has gone silent.
Yes. Win probability added from Castellanos. Series probability saved.
Right.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, in the ripple effects of a sweep here, you never know what would have happened if the Mets don't come back in Philadelphia to this team. Life lesson, huh? Right there. I mean, we thought we were going to see a win tonight, go home. Right now, we're hanging in here. We're not going because it's not over. But boy, the frown was going to be turned upside down real quick. Three balls, 1 strike, Real Muto. Swing and a miss. A lot of movement on that cutter of his.
This might be the year of the mustache. What do you think? That's a pretty good one.
He's got one. How about your guy, Matt Carpenter, for the Yankees? Daniel Day-Lewis, Super Mario guy, had a homer.
Hadn't shaved in years.
Forever.
Scared his kids when he came out of the bathroom.
That skin had not seen sun in a while.
Speaking of beards, the White Sox let Dallas Keuchel go. 3-2, lay center field. Good jump. And running it down out there is Mark Canha. 105 off the bat. But Canha got a real good read on it, and he was there. Play Ball, global initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play the game for everybody. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. 1 down in the 9th. Odubel Herrera now up for the Phillies. Camargo, who's been a difference maker in the on-deck circle. Gosik's first one rides high, and it's a ball. You throw Nestor Cortez and Matt Carpenter together, you got yourselves a Mario Kart game. How about Nestor Cortez? Like, there's no let up. Out of play.
Something about Nestor Cortez and the fearlessness he has on the mound. Not afraid of contact at all. That really is the key for any pitcher. To attack the strike zone and not worry about giving up hard hit contact.
Oof. Big swing from Herrera on a nasty cutter down. Yeah, the schedule, to your guys' point, the schedule matters, and Mets got a series with the Nats, and then we'll see how this all plays out. And they are short, there's no doubt about it, on the pitching side without McGill and obviously Scherzer and DeGrom, which we've known. Hope that Smith comes back, as he's been a piece. Jankowski's out. Like, they're riding some injuries right now, and they're going to go into that gauntlet out west. Atlanta's starting to play a little bit better. I agree. Our buddy Tim Kirkshin, man, he's got those circle games. This could be one of them for the Phillies. Could be.
Yeah. Let's not forget what the Mets did to the Phillies in Philadelphia with that comeback.
1-2 beaten on the ground. Good hop. Guillorme, 2 down.
Well, we saw Chris Bassett tonight too. Holding down the 4, pitching very well, and Cookie Carrasco, a great story all the way back as well.
Well, here is Johan Camargo and the impact he's had on this game. It started against Joely Rodriguez with a walk on a close pitch. She went back to the bench and said, "This game isn't over." And after Castellanos' ball cleared the wall, that was his emotion. And then, of course, that terrific defensive play. Did you say the expected batting average on that ball hit was like 510?
510.
95 miles per hour off the bat.
Corey Knebel will be charged with trying to pick up the save for the Phillies. Knebel's last appearance was against the Braves. He got a save there that secured a split at Truist Park in Atlanta. This one to the screen down the third base side. That game he allowed the inherited runner on to score, but he did pick up the final 2 outs. I just don't know that McNeil, were you left Buck Showalter's office thinking he's available tonight, or is he not? If you're thinking about a pinch hitter in the ninth.
I did not. I
agree.
I thought he was not available. I thought if the Phillies were to bring in a lefty, maybe the only pinch hitting opportunity would be in the bottom of the order and J.D. Davis would make an appearance.
0-2 pitch. That's down.
So many things that are speculated upon that you just don't have all the information you need sometimes. Unless you're down there in that clubhouse, in that dugout, you're not privy to all the information that that man has.
Yep.
Who's banged up a little bit, who he wants to stay away from, who came in this morning with a stiff neck.
Tight hamstring, you just never know.
This should be the third out as Plummer is under it, and he does make the play. So we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Most of the people that were here to start are still here. They're hoping for a comeback. 8-9-1 against Corey Knebel. Adam Ottavino gave up this home run to Nick Castellanos. So now the Phillies have a chance to walk away with a victory, but not before the Mets will have their last ups at the bottom of the ninth against Corey Knebel. ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Quinn's got in to play center field. Herrera moves to right, and here's Corey Knebel. What have we seen from Knebel this season as you take a look at that Philadelphia Phillies defense?
He's had some trouble with his curveball this year. Normally one of his best pitches. Certainly a swing and miss strikeout pitch. As you see, the K rate is down. That's around league average. He's usually up much above that, well above average. Goes directly correlated to that curveball. Whether he can find it again, get a feel for it, land it for a strike. Really the key with any curveball is being able to prove you can throw for a strike first, land it in the zone, and then go out and get the chase.
10 comeback wins this year, which is tied 12th in baseball. You remember the way the Mets have played, there haven't been a lot of opportunities to come back because they've been winning games. Jeff McNeil is in the on-deck circle for the Mets. That ball is ripped to right. Is it fair? Yes, it is! And we are tied. What a moment for Nick Plummer. First major league home run for Plummer to tie it in the bottom of the ninth. It was a rocket. 112 off the bat, 389 feet. Wow.
And a big home run at that. How about this? You talk about sitting dead red fastball first pitch. Not only do you get your first home run, but your first big league hit of your career. And it's a big one. Turn and burn.
That's why these folks all stayed tonight on a Sunday night. First pitch from Knievel, and it was hammered.
Dead red right down the middle. They want the young one to come back out from the dugout. He didn't miss it.
What a moment for the kid that was just called up from Syracuse. And here's Jeff McNeil. First pitch down. .43% above the average when it comes to OPS plus for McNeil. He's been incredible, and he saw that pitch well and fouled it off.
Talk about getting all the fans up from their seats. One swing of the bat will do it.
Jeff McNeil has made contact.
Give me that smile. Give me that smile.
On 87% of his swings this season, the highest rate in the league. Chokes way up on that bat. 1-1 off speed, contact, but a slow roller, and McNeil is thrown out at first base. And he wasn't running very hard, perhaps protecting against something that aches him or ails him.
You talk about win probability swings, the chart in this game from one extreme to another now because of that swing. Castellanos put him up. Plummer ties.
If you love offense, if you love the sound of the sweet spot, that was it right there.
Right back up the middle, knocked down by Knievel, and Guillorme is retired. And now there are 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th. Starling Marte, if he can extend it, Lindor on deck.
All evening long, they have pitched Starling Marte hard and early in counts. Knievel loves his fastball. He's going to be able to execute. It has to be in the same location.
That was the first home run that Knievel has allowed this season. He had not allowed a homer to the 78 batters he faced, and he bends one in there for a strike 1 against Marte. But Nick Plummer does the job. You saw the shot of Edwin Diaz. He's up now. Whole new ball game here in the bottom of the 9th. That's outside. What a game. You know, you had said it's not one of those games where you can just kind of make up for it real quick. You got to wait. So Plummer didn't get charged with an error on that double, but he didn't look great in the field early on. How about the home run as he gets welcomed to the show in the 9th? That's a good pitch. Marte's done. And we're going to play an extra inning at least here at Citi Field. Let's hear it for Nick Plummer on this Memorial Day weekend. The summer at Citi Field electrified tonight by the kid just called up from Syracuse to replace Travis Jankowski. Upper tank at Citi. We are tied at 4. Mets and the Phillies in the National League East on Sunday Night Baseball. Welcome back to Citi Field this Sunday night. And the Mets and Phillies, you mentioned it, the win probability is like seismic here. It's gone up and down, and it was 63% at one point for the Phillies, and now it's 56% chance to win, even in a tie game.
It's like a Bitcoin chart right there.
Looks like my Peloton heart rate.
So with a runner on second base, it'll be Johan Camargo. Unless they send in a pinch runner for Camargo. It looks like they may have done that. Edwin Diaz is in. Kyle Schwarber. Bryson Stott is the pinch runner for the Phillies. And Schwarber is up against Diaz. Thomas Nido has gone on to catch. Diaz, first pitch is a ball. So Bryson Stott, maybe the future shortstop for the Phillies, on second base. Ball gets away from Nido, but no advancement. Nick at night in both cases, right? Nick Castellanos, Nick Plummer. 2 home run hitters, which have us tied 4-4. Big rip at by Schwarber, like that 99 up in the zone. Fouls it back. The funk that Schwarber is in, by his standards, no extra base hits or RBIs in his last 7 games. Towards the dugout, and oh, he caught it! What a play at third by Escobar! Reached over the railing and plucked it.
Talk about a snow cone. It's exactly what it was right there, and just the awareness of knowing where you are, the advantage of this being your ballpark. Getting to the fence first, then reaching over, giving himself room. Watch this, he hustles right to the line, takes a peek. Snow cones it.
And he had the wherewithal to be aware that Stott was on second after that snow cone to sprint back to third base. And there's one big out now. Alec Bohm swings the first one and fouls it off.
See also the configuration here. The net is back behind the dugout there. In a lot of ballparks, you have to contend with the netting down the lines in most ballparks now.
I'll tell you another thing. Big situation again here with Alec at the plate. If he's able to get him out, you put 4 fingers up and you go after Roman Quinn, who came into the game for Nick Castellanos in defense.
Boy, 100 miles an hour from Diaz, and Wills, who's been calling that low strike most of the night, didn't call that one, and it nicked the K zone. Go for 3 with a walk. Scored a run in Bohm. That's high and tight.
Joe Girardi just hoping Bohm can work a walk at least.
Just looked like a quick pitch from Diaz.
He's got more control right now with that slider than he does with the fastball.
We thought about it. It's outside. Full count, 3-2, and a huge pitch with Harper on deck. Where you going, Tony?
Well, his slider is so good. You would think he would probably go to it here.
On the ground, Lindor. Stott looked back. That's a big out. Leaves first base open. Roman Quinn due up after Harper. And the play here is intentionally walk Bryce Harper again.
I would. I wouldn't even think about it.
He did. Of course, Buck Showalter famous for putting up 4 when Barry Bonds came to the plate.
With the bases loaded.
With the bases loaded.
Takes some guts to make that call, right?
Sure does.
But this right here, this is a right call, no matter if Roman Quinn gets on base, gets a base hit, and gives them the lead. There's no way you can allow Bryce Harper to beat you.
Agreed.
Night of surprises, though. We saw Castellanos break out of his homerless drought, 76 at bats. We saw Nick Plummer just called up from Syracuse with a game-tying homer. And now Roman Quinn into the game. First pitch, filthy. Strike one.
In an era when a lot of sliders nowadays are breaking horizontally, the sweeper. Edwin Diaz is the opposite, straight down, nothing but vertical tilt on his breaking slider. Very little, sometimes zero horizontal break on his slider.
Win 3 RBIs, no homers on the season. Looks at a high riser at 100.
It's commonplace now. Riser at 100.
It's almost like he gets under that four-seamer and pushes it up. And then the slider straight down.
That one right there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's the secret sauce for him. The riding fastball up and the slider straight down.
2 men on, 2 men down, 2 strikes to Quinn. The Mets will have Marte at second base, and then Lindor, Alonso, and Escobar to bat. Called strike 3. 92, a slider that really didn't. But Quinn goes back to the bench. Let's go back to that great play by Escobar at the railing.
Gotta know where you're at. Little ice cream cone right here. Make the play, and you smile when you make that play.
And yes, coming in with the trumpets, finishing with a burst.
Welcome back. Next Sunday night, we will be in Chicago, Wrigley Field. St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago Cubs, finishing up a 5-game series. ESPN, it'll be available on ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. We'll start at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. All right, so it's Marte at second. First base open. Lindor is at the plate.
Walk him. You have to put the 4 fingers up here. That's the runner at second that you want. You want the double play at least. Left-handed Lindor up.
Does not look like that's going to be what Girardi does, as the infielders on the corner are currently in on the grass, and Marte dives back in. Bryson Stott at short now for the Phillies. Wild last couple of innings here at Citi Field. Top speed misses, ball 1. Nick Plummer, home run, bottom of the 9th to tie it at 4. Big swing and a miss from Lindor. People just flipping on, saying, wait, who is Nick Plummer? He was in Syracuse a couple of days ago. Travis Jankowski got hurt. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks. Buck Showalter said there was just something about Plummer in the spring. I kept looking at him and saying, can't put my finger on it. There's something about him. And he ran into a huge home run tonight. And that's him in the dugout. Next one to Lindor. Fouled off, 1 and 2.
First thing Buck Showalter said, he fits in with what we're doing here. His
Right.
personality, his work ethic, the type of people we want in this clubhouse was the first thing that man said about Plummer.
82nd percentile as far as speed goes for Marte at second base. He can move. He was dancing a little bit, and that got Knebel to look at Stott. Didn't throw it.
Knebel's been leaning on that knuckle curve a lot after giving up that home run to Plummer. Already 3 in a row to Francisco.
Two-strike pitch. Nope, time called. Time called. It's a good move that Wills was walking one way because there was no real effort to catch it. Almost.
I just want to say,
domed him.
A lot of people in the front row there, the second, third, fourth row, they all flinched. Nobody stayed steady. Whoa.
He got the whole section. You're right.
It looked like a ride at Disney World. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lindor just spoils it.
Marte has to be aware of that knuckle curve in the dirt. Realmuto really good at blocking pitches.
Marte all year has been very aggressive on the bases. The Mets as a team have been aggressive. He got a triple earlier in the game. Been able to set and ready. Here it comes. Off speed, he got Lindor to swing. A good pitch. The knuckle curve, Eddie, that you said he relied on at 81 miles an hour.
Sped him up a little bit with the fastball, and then after that, he's brought Uncle Charlie to the extra innings.
That's the one he's been looking for.
There's your 4 fingers as Alonso is given first base. On the intentional walk, we take a look at Lindor, who missed that one by quite a bit. Well, Escobar made the defensive play on that foul ball, and now he's got a chance. Escobar into right. That's going to get down. That's going to win it for the Mets. Eduardo Escobar with the catch and now the key hit. And the Mets walk it off here on Memorial Day weekend. Win it 5-4. And a heartbreaking loss for the Philadelphia Phillies. As the Mets in extras continue to be unbeaten. 3rd walk-off hit for the Mets this season. And you talked about how Nick Plummer, according to Buck Showalter, just fits with what we're doing here. Eduardo Escobar, he has said since spring training, fits with what we're doing here.
Without a doubt. The magic continues in Queens. And the heartbreak for the Phillies. Another crushing late inning blown save originally, and now a loss. They're adding up in Philly.
Just seems like there's a different hero every day for the New York Mets. They check marked and they said Pete Alonso's not going to be the guy that's going to beat us. And Eduardo Escobar stepped up big right there, hitting that curveball that Francisco Lindor could not handle and kept it fair.
Made a terrific defensive play in the top half as he took away a foul ball that was destined for the dugout. It was a big out, and he drove in the game-winning run in Starling Marte. The Mets improved to 32-17, and their lead over the Braves is back up to 8.5. The Phillies now 21-27 and go home tonight to face the San Francisco Giants tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Diaz will pick up the win. Knebel drops to 1-4 on the season. There's a lot in that game, especially late.
Yeah, the highs and lows. Philly looked like they might have a signature moment, and then snatched out from under them. And once again,
it's all smiles. A lot of things going right for the Mets this season.
Sure are. We'll see you next week. Cardinals and the Cubs Pac-12 Baseball Championship. Oregon State and Stanford. Roxy Bernstein and Todd Walker. For Eduardo Perez, David Cohn, our entire crew, I'm Carl Ravitch. Enjoy more baseball.